Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of Superhero Speak.
But I think many of the people that love this character and that love superheroes in general have used these stories as inspiration to say, you know what, I'm going to do something good in the world. I'm going to make a difference like my hero when I was a kid.
That is my fondest memory of it, because when you're doing comic books, you want them to affect people, right? You want people to care. You want to strike emotions, and I knew that Clone Saga was striking a lot of emotions.
Can you imagine Pulp Fiction starring Goofy and Mickey Mouse?
I can totally imagine that.
I'm sure somebody's written that one
quarter
too.
pounder with cheese in France, Mickey? What? Boy, ale with cheese, Mickey. Yeah, I can totally.
See?
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes, I gladly sacrifice up my progeny to you, almighty Marvel beast.
But Neil Adams is somewhere going, it's my time.
How do you measure success? Hey everyone, and
Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of Superhero Speak.
But I think many of the people that love this character and that love superheroes in general have used these stories as inspiration to say, you know what, I'm going to do something good in the world. I'm going to make a difference like my hero when I was a kid.
That is my fondest memory of it, because when you're doing comic books, you want them to affect people, right? You want people to care. You want to strike emotions, and I knew that Clone Saga was striking a lot of emotions.
Can you imagine Pulp Fiction starring Goofy and Mickey Mouse?
I can totally imagine that.
I'm sure somebody's written that one
quarter
too.
pounder with cheese in France, Mickey? What? Boy, ale with cheese, Mickey. Yeah, I can totally.
See?
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes, I gladly sacrifice up my progeny to you, almighty Marvel beast.
But Neil Adams is somewhere going, it's my time.
How do you measure success?
That meme is great.
It is great.
Wait. What am I missing?
When he goes to the Inquisitor base and he goes down and sees all the frozen Jedi and the tubes.
Spoiler alert!
I didn't even know spoilers was a thing. If you're not caught up on Obi-Wan, then you should have just paused it and went to another show or something like that by now. So you're in for
No. That's episode 4. JD hasn't seen episode 4.
That's fine. I said I'm fine.
Whatever. He's seen the meme. That's all that
I
matters.
saw the meme. I kind of had a hunch.
Yeah, if he's seen the meme, that's you relinquish right.
Right, but what's
Right.
the meme? Because I know he sees all the frozen.
He sees all the carbonated Jedi or whatever.
And they
then-
replaced the Jedi with Austin Powers.
with Austin Powers.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Right.
They even have videos of it.
Because he was frozen since the 60s. Yes. Okay,
Mhm.
I remember now. Okay. So, all right. Well, okay. Episode 3 was one we got to see Vader in all his glory
Oh yeah.
against Obi-Wan.
And angry
Dragon-
too.
Dragging Obi-Wan's ass through the fire, literally.
He was really freaking angry.
So here's what I was thinking when I was watching that episode, and I wanted to bring this up on the show.
He ain't that fast. That's what I was thinking.
One of the biggest
spoilers, people. Spoilers.
One of the biggest complaints people had about The Last Jedi was Luke's attitude, right? Like he was a grumpy old man and he had disconnected from the Force and just like given up on everything and blah blah. And I'm watching Obi-Wan and I'm like, that's how he should be. He's the one to train Anakin. He's the one that brought the downfall of the Jedi. He's the one that should be like, I hate everything. I'm done with all of this. Like nothing's gonna suck me back into being a Jedi again.
I disagree with that. Why it worked better for Luke. Luke was always a whiny little bitch. My favorite character in fiction. But Luke starts off bitching that he can't go hang out with his friends, bitching that he has to take care of the droids, bitching that he can't go to the academy. That's what Luke is. And so is it a surprise that he's bitching about stuff at the end? Anakin, also a whiny little bitch, runs in the Skywalker family. Obi-Wan has like a good attitude the whole time. Even when shit's going wrong, he's like, he keeps a constant head about it. His best friend turns on him and his butchered children, right? And he's like, I'm going to cut your legs off. He cuts the legs up. He goes, fuck you. And he takes his lightsaber and lets him burn up. Obi-Wan is surprised that Anakin lived because he left him to die in a fire. Right? Oh, because Obi-Wan's like, oh, fuck it. And that's his kind of attitude. He's kind of like, meh. Like he just lets shit kind of slide off him. Always has.
Well, it still affects him deeply, but
Oh, it does,
Right.
but he buries it. He's like a good man, and he buries his emotion trauma deep within him and never lets it out.
He's a good man trying to do the right thing.
Because
You
that's
know.
what men do.
I'm making jokes, John.
I know.
Yes. Whereas Luke
We
bitched about
suffer in
everything.
silence.
You suffer in silence. That's what Obi-Wan did. Whereas Luke would tell everyone in a 5-mile radius how much he was upset about whatever.
And how good he was.
Oh, he's also not humble. Also,
Yeah.
also a Skywalker trait
Yep.
that his sister also has.
Yes.
Here is the thing, though. I know that we talk about whiny, but if you have watched the Clone Wars series, you
Yep.
know
I'm working on it, John. Or Dave, Don.
that the
Sorry,
Jedi are shady and hypocritical as fuck.
Oh yeah, they were at the end of their rope. Like that ship had sailed and they were on the down low.
And like
I mean, they were
JD
just-
says, Obi-Wan is the last bastion of believing in that shit. But to me, Luke knowing about that and becoming bitter makes perfect sense to me.
Well,
I
Ahsoka
agree.
also understood what was going on with them, which is why she left pretty much.
But Luke
Right.
too.
Well,
Luke
no,
has,
she was expelled.
Yeah,
Yes.
but she wasn't unhappy. I mean, she
And then they
understood.
offered her a chance to come back, and she said, "No, you all fucked up. You are all fucked up people.
Yep.
I'm going to do my own thing."
but in
Yes.
Luke is because Luke is an idealist, right? Luke's like, I'm gonna fix all this. I'm gonna make it better. Oh fuck, I made it worse. So
Right.
I kind of get that. Like, I don't think Luke Skywalker's character and direction is the biggest issue with the prequel series or the sequel series, right? I don't think
Yeah.
Luke is the issue. There's far greater issues than Luke Skywalker going on in there.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's two directors who didn't care about what the other one was doing.
Yeah.
No plan.
But Obi-Wan, I'm sorry, I'm hijacking. Obi-Wan, this series is fucking awesome, okay? It has so much emotion to it. If you don't understand how important like this is, like Obi-Wan and Vader meeting again, like I don't know what to tell you. You're not a Star Wars fan. And I hate to be elitist like that. I do. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to. But I oh my God. I just love this series. I'm just putting it out there. Like every fucking thing that's happening.
Well,
I'm just like, it's so much weight to it for me.
yeah, and you couldn't have done it without Ewan McGregor, right?
Absolutely. Who you should get a fucking Oscar for this shit, as far as
Yeah,
I'm concerned.
because he makes you when he's on
That's
screen,
what
he
D
makes
square
you
is.
feel. He makes you
Right.
feel what he's feeling, right?
Well, he's probably doing the best performance in a Star Wars project, I should say.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. Like, he's just a really good actor, and he's out here, acting and, and just showing off with his emotions in his face, and he's letting his body tell the story. And, he's giving us a really good performance. And by the way, it would be an Emmy. This is television. He would get an Emmy,
Understood.
and he should get an Emmy too, to be quite frank, or at least get a nomination. He's been really good.
Has anything on Disney Plus been nominated for Emmys yet?
I don't know.
No.
There's
I
very
don't
snobby.
think so.
The Academy's the Emmy Academy, which I forget what they're called off the top of my head. They're being very snobby about these streaming shows.
Yes, I think they are. Though, did Stranger Things get nominated
No.
for anything? No?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then there you go. They are being snobby. So,
The Witcher, there's a lot of shit. Yeah.
Well,
that they
it's
just-
genre TV. They don't genre TV. They don't respect. Like, I think like Miss Maisel and stuff like that's gotten some nominations for things, but
They
just
didn't have a
genre-
choice about that. You have to be like special and good to get something if you're streaming. But there
Yeah.
are a lot of shows that should be getting at least nominations.
Well, because all the best stuff going on is in streaming now. And again, it's like when people fought cable and they had to have the Ace Awards, right?
Yeah.
And like, oh, it's just that's cable. And then all the good stuff was done on cable. And people had to finally admit that HBO was the best network on television. And now it's moved to streaming. Like, all the good stuff is being done in streaming platforms.
true. True. But it's interesting, too. I didn't even think of it that way. You're right. I forgot about the Ace Awards. My God. They don't exist anymore, right?
There's too
No,
there's
I
too
don't
many
think so.
award shows. Like a lot of these award shows, they
I have a great solution for that, John. Don't watch any of them and pretend they don't exist.
Yes.
I do.
So
That's
Yeah,
great
see?
because,
See?
yeah, I've been doing it for like 20 years. So
Yeah, see?
I'm all right,
We're-
on the curve
Yeah, we're ahead of the curve. We all got it.
They only exist so the
until Will Smith smacks someone.
yeah,
Basically.
basically.
they can
Then it's the shit. Then it's awesome.
it's just so actors and actresses and producers can pat themselves on the back, and then it raises their value a little bit in the industry.
Big old circle jerk.
To be fair, isn't that all award shows though? Like, isn't that the purposes of any award? Like, if you get an award at work, like I got this stupid Coach of the Year award above. I mean, like, it doesn't mean anything. Like, it's just just glad handing.
No, that's being
Stroking each other off, telling each other how great we all are. That's all award shows.
Well, is it just an award certificate, or do you like get a gift certificate?
I got a plaque.
Oh, well, there you go.
I got a plaque with my name on
I
it.
only had the pleasure of being a football coach for 2 years. It was the most rewarding experience I had in my life. So I don't know. That's big to me, buddy. I know you're.
I appreciate that, but like at the end of the day, it's the kids. That's what matters.
Absolutely.
But I talked a lot of shit when I won that thing. Let me tell you.
Yes, that's how you should do.
Yeah, I've always thought that they should have at least 1 or 2 categories where people can vote.
It's People's Choice. They have a People's Choice.
People's Choice Award. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Nickelodeon got that on lock.
Dude, the Kids' Choice Awards was the stuff.
Yes.
And they had slime graffics and everything. That's
they actually dropped slime on some people too.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon was ahead of the curve, man.
Yep. Remember Salute Your Shorts?
I think that
That's a great show.
Oh, the Camp on Awana. We hold you in our hearts. When I think about you, it makes me want to fart.
It's a hope we never part. Now get it right or pay the price. Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think Amber Heard should host the Nickelodeon Awards and get brown slime.
So what is she gonna do to get all that money? Like that, she owes a lot of money. Like
she can't pay it, and Johnny. Apparently Johnny
go on
doesn't want anything
Pornhub
from her.
So
no, OnlyFans tweeted her and said, "We're waiting."
Yep.
For real, she could make a killing on OnlyFans.
Judging from the numbers from other OnlyFans people I've heard of, it's millions of dollars in minutes.
There's a lot of money on OnlyFans. If you're a pretty girl and you're not on OnlyFans, you are losing out on money.
And if you have a name recognition and you're a pretty girl, whoa.
Bad Baby made $30 million.
We are not endorsing young pretty girls to go on OnlyFans.
I am. Go make money. There's money to be had.
Hey, we men are stupid. We will hand you money.
Give for nothing.
We're idiots.
Lingerie pictures, here's $10 a month.
Yeah.
That's all it's got to be. You don't even have to get naked.
There's 5 million men giving you $10 a month.
Yes.
I mean, you do the math. It's just
we're stupid
so
and
stupid. Yeah.
bad with our money. Like
terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know. I encourage it. I think any young woman who's comfortable in herself, get on that and get some money. Go get paid.
Bad Baby. If you don't remember Bad Baby, she's the Cash Me Outside. How about that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so she announced like 3 months before she turned 18 years old, I'm going to be starting an OnlyFans on my birthday.
That's creepy.
Yeah, and she made like $2 million on her birthday.
That's so creepy.
Imagine what the Olsen twins would have made if they had that back in the day.
That's also creepy.
We don't pay teachers enough, but
we do not, John. As a matter of fact, that's an opinion I'm going to have that's very near and dear to my heart coming soon. That's a very good point.
Yeah, and yet we will hand millions and millions of dollars to some rando, internet famous person who said something stupid on a show.
But good for them for making money. This is a tough economy to just go out there and try to do something. And then we're all content creators, right? We're sitting here talking about Ryan Reynolds on a Sunday night. Like if they can do it, good for them.
Gas is getting so expensive. I think we're all gonna have an OnlyFans soon. Anyway,
or we already do, and you just don't know about it.
Oh, the 8-Bit Ray fans.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
All right, now to get back on topic, and I already know the answer to this.
We have a topic. What are we talking about?
We were talking about Obi-Wan. JD.
Oh,
the other one is. Did you watch Miss Marvel?
I didn't even know it was out.
See, that was coming.
I had no idea. I saw the trailers. I thought it was coming soon.
Their marketing really was awful for this show.
Like
Obi-Wan was like all over YouTube and all this, but Miss Marvel didn't start marketing until the show was already out.
I had no idea. I had no idea the show was out. And it's not like I haven't been plugged in. I had no clue that the show started.
So here's an interesting thing too. Like Disney has a thing where they will not release in the same month movies for their properties. So like Star Wars movie cannot come out the same month as a Marvel movie. Like because they don't compete against themselves. I'm shocked that Miss Marvel came out the same time Obi-Wan did.
That's a good point. I know that probably tells me that their audiences are different. That their internal numbers suggest that these are different audiences.
Oh, I think that they're trying to keep the character relevant with Multiverse of Madness just coming out about a month ago.
True.
They're still trying to capitalize on that. They couldn't wait any longer because then everybody would be like, oh, wait, she was in that movie, right? What did she do again? Rewatch.
Was she in the market? She wasn't in Multiverse of
No,
Madness,
that was American Chavez. That wasn't Miss Marvel.
Isn't that like the same thing?
No, something different.
Not really. No.
No. They do pair up though in the comics.
I just think that their internal metrics probably tells them that these are not the same audiences, and so they're not competing against themselves really.
True.
Well, no,
It's all about because with streaming platforms, it's all about hours of engagement. That's their measuring. Because how many hours engagement can we get for this service? So it doesn't really hurt you to have more than one thing come out in a month.
I feel like it's an experiment on their part to see.
Oh, I agree.
If they can get good numbers for both shows released at the same time. So
I don't know. I guess I have to watch.
Obi-Wan is the most streamed show
because it's awesome
now. Yeah.
Is it? You guys watch Miss Marvel?
Yeah, Miss Marvel's well worth it.
Well, me and John
It's surprising.
Don have watched it, right, Don?
Yeah.
Watching. It's on the list. Okay.
Wait a minute. I have little girls that I'm like, hey, watch this. Do you like it?
It comes down to having a character whose through whose eyes we can see everything anew. She's a character that loves superheroes. She's got our spirit, and to see her get powers and what she's going to do with that's always been one of the biggest draws of her, besides the fact that she's a Pakistani superhero.
That's definitely the appeal of this show, and the character is like her love of it, and then her wanting to be a part of it, and then she ends up being a part of it. Like that is that's definitely
it's one of the biggest tricks that they use in anime when they do one of those isekais where it's the gamer that suddenly finds himself in the game. It's something that a lot of the viewers can relate to on a very basic level, and it gets you involved because you're seeing yourself in the character. And for a lot of us who love superheroes, we're looking at this girl who loves superheroes, and it's like, yeah, I get that. And
so it's Captain Marvel
watch what she does.
Yes. Captain Marvel specifically.
Yes.
But are we leapfrogging over Obi-Wan then? I just want to make sure.
What do you want to say about Obi-Wan? Because not everyone has seen it.
Yeah, you're pretty much
fucking dork fanboy, and I love it.
You pretty much sucked it dry, Don.
That's it. I'm a big fucking dork fanboy. I love every.
I will say
it.
The girl I don't remember her name. She's killing it as young Princess Leia.
Yeah, she was in Game of yes. And the Game of Thrones actor, I can't remember her name, so I
Vivian Lyra Blair.
She's good, my man.
Leia. Yeah, she really is good. She's another one of those young ones that's like, wow, she's got.
Did you see? Everyone's seen the meme where it's like it's the Mandalorian standing there, and it's like this show's about me, and then there's Baby Yoda sitting there like guess again, and now it's Obi-Wan. This show's about me, and it's Baby.
Guess again.
I don't feel that way.
I don't feel that way either.
I love what that young actress is doing and think she is killing it, right? Like she's just destroying the role. But I'm still loving everything that Ewan McGregor has given me in every scene.
She could have stolen it from somebody less than Ewan McGregor, but it's Ewan McGregor, and he like the two of them together work.
Yes,
it's not lopsided. It could have been lopsided, but
but the sides are not lopped.
No lops here.
So do we think we're going to see a Vader Obi-Wan rematch, but this time Obi-Wan's kind of awakened the Force, and now it's time to show you?
Oh,
I do.
Yeah. Okay. You have to because it's his show.
And then the last thing I have to say is, remember when Vader? I'm sorry, spoiler alert, JD. He walks into the room to like scold the third sister. That's exactly how I walk into like my children's bedroom when I've told them to clean the room and they haven't. So
I have an issue with that. That scene though, but then again, maybe it's why by the time we get to Empire Strikes Back, he's just killing people that disappoint him left and right. Like he didn't kill her. He almost kills her, but he doesn't kill her. Right. It's like, no, my Vader would kill her, but then again, maybe that he learns his lesson here, and that's why in the future he just kills him right away.
Think about it like this: the Empire has been running on all cylinders since he started wearing the helmet. Everything has come up Vader, right? They keep winning. It's not until Vader has this colossal fuck up and lets this gigantic project that they've been working on, it's been probably billions of credits constructing, just explode because of a tiny little port. That then he's like, well, shit, now I got to straighten things up. Now I got to be the bad guy. Right.
Right.
Well, it was already a bad guy. He's walking through that village and just snapping people's necks.
Yeah, but they don't matter. Those people don't matter. They're insignificant. These are the people that work for you. You can't kill your workforce.
Now
it hurts productivity. But they learned it too.
Yeah. Do you think that fire though should have really prevented him from like pursuing Obi-Wan? Like
I have a theory on that, Don.
Yeah, I think he's scared of fire, obviously, although his castle is in Mustafar, so that kind of goes against that.
My theory is I think he just wants to keep hunting him. I think he's having fun.
Okay.
He needs a purpose.
Yeah, I think so. I agree. I think this is like he sees that Obi-Wan's alive and he lets him go because he wants to keep it going. Because it gives him something. Because again, think about it. What has really challenged Vader in the last 15 decade at this point? Right? Not much.
Not much.
A couple of random Jedi and
Jedi here and there, and now you find your greatest enemy is here, and you don't want to end it that quickly, right? You want to spread it out
at him.
Yeah. Right? Because he didn't have to drag. He drug him through the fire as a tease, right? He could have done way worse to him. No, I think Vader's enjoying this.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that theory because literally Obi-Wan is the reason that Vader's only peace is found when he's floating in liquid. He hates being in that fucking armor.
Wouldn't you?
Absolutely. So yeah, I like it. I like what you're selling. I'm buying it.
You just let it go, man.
Just let it go like the astronauts do.
I'm pretty sure somewhere in this boot is like a bag, and it just kind of collects all the pee refuse. I imagine taking
like
a shit
Iron Man
similar,
suit.
like the Iron Man suit.
Yeah, just filters it, and I mean, fuck, you got you don't have any limbs, so you might as well enjoy your other organs working.
There could be shit in his hand. He has no hand. We don't know.
He wouldn't feel it even if he did.
That's what I'm saying. It could be full of turds.
Amber turds? Oh, anyway.
Yep. We brought it back, didn't we, to fecal matter? We certainly did.
Brilliant.
Oh, my God. Anyway.
When are we going to talk about fecal lantern?
You will. We'll get there.
Oh, the brown lantern.
There you go.
There you go.
Episode title.
Brown lantern.
All right. Fine. So real quick, social media madness. The first thing is, Don, you had replied to Dan Slott, and you had said
that was the thing,
as I oft do,
and said, I proposed that idea on Superhero Speak. Though listeners of the show probably know by now, Dan Slott blocked us a long time ago.
Why?
He
didn't block me. Okay, because like I got in kind of a gun debate with him, and I'm not gonna talk that, and he still hasn't blocked me. So what made him block Superhero Speak? Is that information?
There was some kind of debate going on, and I believe it was about over Spider-Man, and I don't remember exactly what the whole thing was. And somebody was made a comment about not liking the direction Spider-Man was going in at that time, and I believe this might have been around the time of The Other.
He was before. No, he was after The Other.
I believe The Other was brought up in this debate. I don't remember the whole thing, and I agreed with somebody that had disagreed with him on the Superhero Speak Twitter, and he just blocked us. Like,
how dare you have an opinion on the internet, sir? How dare you?
I think Dan Slott is a lot more open to things than he used to be. And I think because Spider-Man fans are insane. I say this as one of them. So I think the Spider-Man stuff has hardened him a little bit because him and Don had a multiple day long debate. And I just kind of sat back and was bored at work. And I'm like, I'm going to read their whole debate. And it went on. It was extensive. It was impressive.
I mean, the thing is, like, nothing was said about Dan Slott. There was no insult or anything. It was nothing derogatory was said. I just agreed with somebody who was saying something about Spider-Man, and it was just like, nope.
Okay.
And I think he just blocked a bunch of people that day.
Could have been a mood. That's the thing about blocking people. Once they're blocked, you don't know they exist anymore.
Because first and foremost, I respect Dan Slott very much. I think he's a good writer. To be very honest with you, we just disagree on one topic. But what I'm talking about here in this tweet, and actually this is something I piggybacked off of JD, to be honest with you, was the whole like, let's have some shows about the X-Men first.
Oh, yeah.
Then have an ensemble movie.
I saw that. He was tweeting that. I'm like, I've heard this before.
So that's it. I pitched this idea on this show, and so that's why I tagged Superhero Speak, not fathoming that you might be blocked by Dan Slott.
Yeah, that was so
Don,
funny.
don't you know that we make things into existence?
We do.
We speak it.
Absolutely.
The universe makes it.
It's not the first time this has happened.
We wield the power cosmic.
I like you, Dan Slott. I want to make that perfectly clear. So we may disagree on an issue, but I do respect you. Think you're a good writer, and thank you.
My second favorite run on Spider-Man.
Which run?
Yeah, he kills it.
Slots. I really like Dan Slott's run on Spider-Man. Number 2, behind Roger Stern.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that.
So that's it. That's it. Just an X-Men shows, then an ensemble movie. And that way we can flush out all the characters and then get it when they come together like the Avengers did.
Flush
Instead of
out all the
movies,
characters?
though,
Like down the toilet?
Speaking of flesh, when we're talking about Green Lantern.
Okay. Hold on. The other thing for social media madness, it's a discussion that we've had on this show many times. It was proposed by, hold on, let me bring the tweet up here. Sorry about this. Casson Ward, who is contributed multiple things to this show so far, and tweeted me yesterday because we had or the other day, because remember I didn't say it. I was like, I don't know if it's a man or a woman. He's like, I'm a guy. So
oh yes, this person. Yes.
Thanks, bro.
So basically the discussion, he was talking about streaming, and how we've been talking about the streaming wars and where it's going. And he's like, what do we think can be done? Should the streaming services stop focusing on the established IPs and actually create new IPs? What is the contender
create new IP
for the third spot for our comic universe addictions? So, JD, you're laughing about the idea of new IPs.
That's new work. That's a risk. Better never.
Okay, and then and it's not a comic IP, but Stranger Things was a risk.
Not
it
really.
Was.
Yeah, but
it was a risk when they. Yeah,
I agree with Ray.
You get very little of that.
The Duffer Brothers had planned out everything in that first season to the detail, storyboards, everything. They wrote it out, they proposed it, and then Netflix did the right thing with marketing it properly towards the horror community, which was brilliant. So there's no way really Stranger Things could have failed. One, you're hitting on our nostalgia. You are hitting all the right bumps. You're hitting on things that we love, horror movies and action movies, references. Oh, we love it all. We were craving that back then. So
it could have been bad.
I know younger people that didn't grow up in the 80s that love Stranger Things.
Because it's good. Good storytelling traverses eras, right?
Right.
It's good. If
it's not like that's the whole thing. It's not just a nostalgia thing. It's definitely just
but it was sold as it, right?
True.
Pretty much.
Like it's sold as the love child of Stephen King and Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
right.
No, that's true, and that's probably how they got it on air.
That's how they got it on air, right? They had a good hook, right? They had a good hook, and they clearly were good at selling it, and it's a good property, right? But I mean, like that's one of the rare examples. That's one of the rare exceptions of like something new that's come out in the last decade and a half or so, right? Like, and Netflix is the one streaming entity that is willing to take new chances on things.
Yes,
Apple does to an extension, but nobody watches Apple TV, so.
Yeah, but
I don't know what's
they have to hire pretty much well-known actors like Tom Hanks to come in. Yeah,
that's it, and that's Apple's thing. That's what Apple decided to do.
I mean,
they're
who was the biggest name in Stranger Things season 1? Winona Ryder.
Yeah,
that's it. They didn't have a huge cast. It was a bunch of kids and a couple of unknown actors.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're all famous.
Man.
That's what happens when something works,
right? But I think you're making a good point. There is Netflix is the only one who has taken chances. I don't know.
It's been in the ass. It's bit him in the ass a lot.
Oh, a lot.
Yeah, I was about to say, the way things are going right now, I don't know how many chances they're going to actually take going forward.
They're going to have to shore it up. Actually, they're going to start getting live sports, and they're going to have to start playing by a different set of rules. And hopefully they can still continue to do some original property stuff.
They have video games on there now.
Really?
Yeah, I saw on Indeed, because I like to check for weird jobs, and especially for Netflix, because I'd love to be the guy that writes the synopsis for this, because I can do a way better job than that fucker. I've been duped so many times. You got me. I'm going to be honest with the people.
You got the tater.
Yeah. So, yeah, I always look for weird jobs, but they were hiring a gaming project manager and a bunch of web designers and things like that, ramping up for this big Netflix, gaming thing that they're going to do. And now they've unveiled it. So there you go. Then they're going to add more and more games, and they're hiring for that. I don't know how it's going to work.
That's interesting. That's an interesting attempt. That's a little different than what the other platforms are doing. I have no idea if it's going to work. But
it can't work on a TV. I mean, if I log on to Netflix on my computer, on the app on my computer, then I can play the games. But if I'm on my TV, I can't play the games. I don't know how that's.
Well, smart TVs.
Okay, maybe
the smart TVs. Like a lot of them, Samsung, Sony, they've got their own. Mostly Java based or other type of programming language based like platforms that other companies write their apps for.
My TV's dumb as fuck.
Right. But the smart TVs, you could actually run games on them. But the smart TV, that means the smart TVs would have to be a little bit more expensive because they're going to have the processing power and memory in order to handle that.
Sounds like
It
an
could
Apple
work.
II to me.
But it could work though if that becomes a thing that helps give Netflix an advantage. Kind of like remember when Sony PlayStation tried to be that and it really didn't work.
That's the other thing, and that's the other thing you said too, is who could be a contender for other comic book properties, and Netflix has tried it 3 times now.
Well, they got a big one coming.
Sandman.
Yeah, it hasn't come out yet. That's big. Like that's a.
Well, they picked up Lucifer, right? Or they ended Lucifer, right?
They had Lucifer, but they ended it. Like they picked it up.
Well, I mean, that had been planned out. So.
Yeah, they finished it. But I mean, like, this is their first attempt at like a real big name comic property. I mean, the Sandman, it's 30 years after the fact, but I mean, Sandman was huge.
Yeah, right? they've done graphic novels. Like what was that Chris Hemsworth movie that came out, that action movie where he was like the mercenary that went in for the kid, and I can never remember the name of it. I like the movie. I can never remember the name of it. But that was based on a graphic novel.
They did some Mark Miller stuff too. They did did they do Jupiter's Legacy?
Yes, that was the. Oh my god, that's
they did some Mark Miller stuff. Like so, because Mark Miller sucks. He's the most overrated creator.
No. Like the makeup was horrible, and
because Mark Miller sucks.
Mark Miller should have nothing to do with the look of the show. I mean, he has some input.
It's his stuff. People will put up with stuff that looks kind of silly if the stories are good and if it's entertaining.
Okay, so the movie was called Extraction.
Oh, I did hear about that movie.
Yeah,
that was a graphic novel.
Yeah,
I never read that.
Okay,
man. To me, it's IDW, guys. If somebody can get IDW on lock, start doing some fucking TMNT Power Ranger crossover shit.
Here's
some My Little Pony Transformers for John.
I already have all of those.
Which is actually a pretty good comic book
show.
But that's the thing with IDW. IDW just picks up property. Like, I mean, they don't actually own anything. They're just,
they're like the new Dark Horse.
Yeah, that's pretty
caveat.
much. Speaking of Dark Horse, you guys get that?
They got Star Wars. We're getting Star Wars back.
Did we get an email from Dark Horse?
We got an email from Dark Horse. They wanted us to cover something for them.
Oh,
at least it's not a cease and desist.
No.
No, they want us to interview people.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes.
Was it junk? Did you get in the junk? I found it in my junk mail yesterday.
I got
That's
it.
why I brought it up.
One
speak behind the curtain talk.
Yep, 2 days ago I got one.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I got it.
We will discuss this later. Yeah. So we talk about Green Lantern yet?
You are chomping at the bit.
It's like just he wants to get it over with, like ripping a Band-Aid off.
No, I need to talk about this.
So
personal catharsis.
Oh my god. All right. So I guess we are where we at. Netflix is the only one who's tried to do other stuff. Disney's just going to do what they own.
Amazon does some stuff.
Amazon. Wait a minute.
The Boys, they're killing it.
They spent a lot of money in this Lord of the Rings show we haven't seen yet.
Yeah,
a lot of money. And
I
hope it's not a failure.
Which people are unjustifiably attacking for stupid reasons, but nonetheless,
that's what fans do.
I know. I'm a Star Wars fan, I should.
Short for fanatic for a reason.
If it wasn't for fans like that, we wouldn't have a podcast.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're not wrong. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're 5 assholes here right now. Come on.
This is true.
Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has them.
And shit comes out of them. All of them. All right.
I don't think Ryan Reynolds did. I don't think Ryan Reynolds has an asshole.
On that note, if you want to know, you can be part of Social Media Madness and join these assholes on social media. Here's a good friend D Squared to tell you more.
I know that guy.
Enjoying the show? Want to be part of Social Media Madness? Make sure you are following superheroespeak.com, where you can find all of the show's social media links at the top of the page. While you're there, you can check out old episodes of the podcast as well as some other great content. Check the site often because we are posting some great comic reviews as well as comic book and movie news content every day. Make sure and follow us on Twitter at SuperheroSpeak. And while you're there, check out the rest of the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. You can follow them at stars_geek. The Geek World All-Star Podcast Network include great programs such as the Pop Prison Power Podcast, Cult 45, So Wizard, Fans on Patrol, the Gorilla Brain podcast, and of course, Superhero Speak. Search for hashtag GWAllStars. You will not be disappointed. Now it's back to Dave and the boys on Superhero Speak. Sorry.
You think Ryan Reynolds just converts all his food directly into energy?
Directly into his six-pack abs.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
There's no waste. It's all utilized.
Yep. So there's no need for an asshole for Ryan Reynolds.
Thanks for that, Don.
He's a perfectly green human.
Oh my God. You're not going to stop, are you?
Metabolizes 100% of his calories.
Oof.
And I'm out of alcohol. All right.
Dark Crisis 1 came out last week. I have to read that.
I'm not. I've still got one more.
We haven't even started
I have a
talking
bottle
about
of
Green
vodka
Lantern
over there, but I don't feel like getting up. All right.
I don't know why you plan to cover the actual news on these shows. We never get to it.
Don, while you're here, why don't you tell people how they can find the Omega Level Nerds podcast?
Well, you can go to YouTube and just search Omega Level Nerds. You can also go to Twitter and follow us at Omega Level Nerds. Our profile has our link there. And so there you go. That's how you find the Omega Level Nerds podcast, as well as some other shenanigans. Thank you very much.
I'm going to get Dave a conductor hat.
Sorry. Hold on. My laptop got unplugged, and now I'm getting a warning the battery's low. 1 second.
We're professionals, ladies and gentlemen.
Actually, we're quite amateurish.
All right. Sorry about that. And thanks for that, Don. And Ray, of course, why don't you tell people where they can find the Omega Level Nerds? You're not Omega Level
You can
Nerd.
find the Omega Level Nerds on YouTube and Podbean and everything else out there.
All right, no more drinking when I do these shows. Where they can find the Gorilla Brain podcast.
Hey.
You can catch the Gorilla Brain podcast on any podcasting app that's out there, Spotify, iTunes. If it's even called iTunes anymore, who knows? And you can catch me on Twitter at Gorilla Brain Pod, on Instagram at Gorilla Brain Podcast. You can catch me on Twitch Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 p.m. on Twitch at 8-Bit Ray. And you get a lot of fun little hoo-ha comedies out of me. And back to you, Dave. And
can we catch you outside?
How about that?
And that's the only way one can respond.
If I were to go outside right now, if I were to open that window, you would hear an army of tree frogs. You think I'm kidding?
You ever see that Roddy Piper movie, The Hell Comes to Frogtown?
Yes. I adore that film. Thank you.
It's a terrible.
Well, on that
movie.
note, I know. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
All right, we're back. And we do have some news to talk about.
We're not through the news?
No, we haven't even started.
Oh, come on. We got to talk about this first story. Like, come on. We all liked Ghostbusters Afterlife, right? We thought it was a good way to bring it back. We're now going to get not just one new project. We're going to get two projects. Apparently, it's been confirmed there will be a animated series coming to Netflix based on the story from Ghostbusters Afterlife. And there's a movie in the works from Sony, a sequel to Afterlife called Firehouse. Now, here's the thing. They're saying that's animated as well, but I don't know if that's something that got lost in translation or if it really is going to be an animated movie.
According to the Variety story, we're going to get formal announcements on Ghostbusters Day coming up.
But the rumor is that it's going to focus on Winston and his being a millionaire, and he's the one who's going to now fund the Ghostbusters going forward, and he's going to start with the kids,
as was shown in the movie Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah, but my thing is that Netflix has put a halt on all animation right now. How are they going to pull this off?
Because they're putting all of their stuff into Ghostbusters.
Yes,
because this has everything.
That's a mistake.
That's what they're going to do. Because this, look at this. So look at the positive of this. This is Sony. Right,
that's a mistake.
But they're finally going to stop putting all of their effort into bad Spider-Man movies.
Oh, yeah, about time.
That's what I'm saying. Look at
instead, we bring Morbius back to the theaters so it can make 25 grand.
Boy, did they learn
Morbin time?
Did they learn a lesson on that one? They are bringing Spider-Man back though to take the egg off their face a little bit.
There's another petition out there right now to bring Morbius back for the second time.
I know.
Started by Jared Leto, by the way.
Hopefully, they're not dumb enough to listen again. These people don't know what a meme is. It's hilarious. Well, but like I said, this gives us the Ghostbusters is finally a franchise, is what Dan Aykroyd always wanted it to be. So they're going to go all in with this, and it's fine. It's something else.
as long as they get J. Michael Straczynski to write the animated series and they don't interfere with him like they did in the 80s.
I doubt that'll happen.
Well,
you ever had his vodka?
No.
No.
Crystal Skull vodka.
Yeah, I was there for the premiere of it. He did it in Towson, Maryland, and he was just there debuting and giving shots around to the people of age. And
he was super into it.
Got to meet Dan Aykroyd and try his vodka.
Nice.
Well, the rumor
J.
right
Michael
now
Straczynski's
is Jason Reitman is writing both, but
so
we'll see.
I'm sure he's producing both, and he probably is going to write the movie and then
Produce the show.
produce the series so he can get paid off it, because he basically is now the shepherd of the Ghostbusters.
I mean, as long as it's good as the Next Generation, I think we're good.
The Next Generation?
Ghostbusters. Wasn't it called Next Generation?
The Extreme Ghostbusters.
Oh, whatever.
No, that was bad.
That was bad.
That was bad. What was it? Toy Galaxy did shows on those, and there was another shoot. I'll have to look it up. There was another YouTuber that did like a 40 minute or an hour on each the Ghostbusters and the Extreme Ghostbusters, and did a really nice breakdown of every episode and how much studio interference there was, and when the studios brought in a bunch of hacks to tell them what people wanted, and that's why they switched to focusing on kids being Ghostbusters instead of the actual Ghostbusters. And it's just like all the stuff, and the changes to Janine. Like,
First of
as long as they don't interfere with it.
Toy Galaxy.
Yes.
Second, that never works. People always think kids want to watch kids do things. No, kids want to watch adults do superhero things that they can aspire to be like.
Yeah, as soon as the focus went to kids, the show's ratings tanked.
That's a mistake that's existed since the 40s, and they started introducing young sidekicks in the comic books, thinking they needed those to interest the kids.
Okay, look at it this way. That's a great. Glad you mentioned that. That worked kind of with Robin. Kind of. People accepted it, but it failed everywhere else.
Yeah.
Narrow.
One kid, one time, it worked with the kid superhero, and it was the biggest superhero of the era. It's Captain Marvel, right? Where the kid got to become an adult superhero. The kid got to become something special.
Right.
And everybody kind of missed the point of what they want. Kids don't want to see other kids do things. They want to see people older than them do things. They want something to aspire to be. Right?
Yeah.
You can't tell a film executive that.
No, you can't tell
like Power Rangers Turbo. You got the little kid that became a full-grown ranger.
I'll take your word for it.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
I never watched the Power Rangers after the first season.
What?
I only watched that for the Pink Ranger.
Why don't you just spit in my mouth after you
I'm older. I'm older than you. Like, I just didn't see it. That
was weird though. They had the kid playing it, but the reason why he grew up into an adult when he turned into a Power Ranger was because they were using footage from Japan.
Why were you watching this, John? That's the question. You're older than all of us.
Because I have to do something to keep my geek cred, you know? I lose my card if I am not on top of everything.
Fair.
I have kids who watched it, so
that makes sense. I'll buy that.
My son's favorite, I think, was the Power Rangers Ninja, so which is way past all that stuff.
We haven't gotten into Power Rangers.
No.
That could be coming, but
Jason will be in jail. I'm sure he'll do interviews.
Oh my god.
Right.
That was
about that.
And one of them's dead. So
One of them, well, Trini's dead. One of them, one of the Red Rangers is a murderer. He killed someone. He killed someone and then put their body, tied it to the anchor of the boat, and tossed it overboard.
Well, you have that many people playing Power Rangers over 30 years, you're going to be dramatic. But
the law of averages tells you someone.
Right. Yes. But the actress who played Trini in the first season, she died in a car accident.
And she was
that
in the
was
Crow.
Not, you know.
Let us not forget she was in the Crow and looking.
She was in the Crow?
Yeah.
Who was she in the Crow?
She was like
she was the
main dude's
sister.
No way, that was her.
Yeah, dude, that was Trini.
I had no idea until you just told me that.
Yeah,
the sister that he banged or whatever.
Yeah,
real inappropriate relationship.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got to go to
Call fucking dead.
Her name was Toy Trang, by the way. Toy Trang, and she was and it was a real shame because she had chops. You know, she could have broken the mold and gone out like some of the other Rangers have in the past, but
just very insensitive that she was in a yellow suit.
Yeah, well, that was, you know, and the black guy was in a black
and
suit.
Zach was the black.
It was kind of
with one finger missing. Never noticed until someone pointed it out. He has a finger missing.
Yeah.
Did anyone notice Jerry Garcia's
like
finger
Scotty.
missing?
Just
old
Scotty.
reference. Yeah.
Never knew. He was breakdancing too much. I didn't know.
All right. So I have a question.
Hip hop keto.
Does anyone here have an interest in seeing a reboot of the Addams Family
No.
that focuses on Wednesday Addams?
Well, maybe.
No.
That is directed or created by Tim Burton.
I'm not sure. No. Good Tim Burton or bad Tim Burton?
We didn't care after the first Addams Family movie with Raul Julia, so why do we care about?
Whoa, you better watch him out.
That was
man.
actually
Values
pretty
was
good.
amazing. Don't you ever?
Yeah, the first movie, but after that, we were
no, Values was terrific.
Values
that's
is
the
pretty
one
fun.
where Fester had the wife, right?
It's Joan Cusack.
Yeah.
She wanted to be a Barbie. Okay.
Yeah.
She did not want to be ballerina or Malibu Barbie. She wanted to be a ballerina. That's who she was.
I'm with Ray in this one. Addams Family Values rules.
By the way, Christina Ricci, who played Wednesday in the original Addams Family movies, has given her blessing to Jenna Ortega, who's playing Wednesday in this.
Yeah, she's in it. Christina Ricci's in it.
She's also a monster, right? With Charlize Theron when she played a very ugly woman. I'm sorry, not attractive.
Lean
woman.
Watros, serial killer.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
I felt
We're all over the place.
I felt like she was
Power Ranger in Addams Family.
I felt like she was a breakout character in the movies, but she never was a breakout on the show or in the original strip. So it's like I don't understand why we're going to get a show focused on one character. Like it works as an ensemble, not as one character being weird in the world.
It's a weird demographic to go for, really. Like, I don't know. It's like, you're going for the emo, dark goth. I mean, My Chemical Romance came back, so I guess it kind of makes sense. I don't know. I can't put it together why they were like, let's do a Wednesday show. Fuck it. Give me a Pugsley show, man. Give me an Uncle Fester show. I'll take it. Christopher Lloyd needs to check.
A Thing show would be kind of fun with just the hand running around.
Yeah.
What kind of adventures the hand can get into?
He could be our point of reference.
Our point of reference.
The Hands of Manos.
You got it.
Nobody knows that.
God.
Never mind.
Oh, I know the Manos, the Hands of Fate. Terrible movie.
Yep.
It's even hard to watch in Mystery Science Theater 3000 because it's such a terrible movie.
Well, it became one of the biggest memes for Mystery. I give you the Hands of Manos. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hands of Manos, the Hands of It's like just like for 20 minutes. Because
Okay, all right. So then let's then take it the next step. Did everyone watch the what was put out from Rob Zombie for the Munsters movie that's coming?
What is the draw with Rob Zombie? Because I don't think much of his stuff has actually been good.
John, didn't he make a good Halloween movie?
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
He almost did.
Yeah, he almost did. That's a great way to put it. He almost made a good Halloween movie.
He put too much backstory into Michael Myers and just kind of ruined the whole mystique of the character.
Michael Myers needs no back.
Yeah. Michael Myers was bullied and his mom was a stripper and probably knew John from the club.
But
Sage Christopher Columbus.
Yeah, no, this looks weird, man. Like not even like good weird, just like you did
the idea of Rob Zombie doing a comedy, just like
no,
I don't know.
There was comedy in House of a Thousand Corpses. There was comedy in Devil's Rejects. I mean, he can do. I'm sure he's not the one writing the jokes.
Yeah,
but it takes a sensibility to direct comedy, and I'm not sold on this at all. But whatever.
I thought the trailer looked fine until it switched from black and white to color.
I agree. The Monsters in color. Remember they did the Monsters Today, and that was in color, and that was bad.
Yeah.
And that they did Monsters Come Home, and that was in color, and that was also bad. There's something about the Monsters in color that just doesn't work.
All available on Tubi, by the way.
Yes. Tubi's actually got a lot of good crap.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I have that said, I have zero interest in this, and I will never be seeing it.
Yeah, my favorite thing about the Monsters was that they had a dragon under their
basement.
Stairs.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was Maryland too. Like most of and we didn't get a character from Maryland.
That's the thing is Marilyn's the human character. She's the point of reference. She's like the straight man. I don't know if this works without a straight man.
Yeah.
And we don't have Eddie either.
Right. I didn't see Eddie. Right.
So is this a Monsters prequel?
He's coaching the Miami Heat. Inside joke. I always thought Eric Spoelstra looked like Eddie Munster.
Hey, Eddie Munster.
He does look like
Eddie Munster always came to my local comic shop in Baltimore. He like lived in the area, I think.
That's pretty cool.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
So he was always doing stopping in the shop. You'd see him in there. You go in for your Wednesday books and be like, There's Eddie fucking Monster over there.
And he taught me that if a
It's also the
Frankenstein's
senator of
monster
Texas.
and a vampire have relations, that
They get
the
a wolf boy.
offspring will be a wolf man. Like
Yes.
that's important things to learn.
Explains why my children are so hairy.
Well, that really puts a twist on the birds and the bees, doesn't it?
My parents never taught me the birds and the bees. I'm resentful.
No, you watch the monsters, you learn the corpses and the vampires. I mean, come on, that's
So what,
You know
you
the
get birds
Munsters
and
was the-
bees, you get a platypus? I don't know.
Did you know
It's
the
like-
Monsters was the first show to show a married couple in bed together?
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. Groundbreaking.
yes.
I
Beat
thought
the
that was
Brady
I
Bunch.
thought that was Lucille Ball.
No.
No, they
No.
share. They're in separate beds. No, and it beats Brady Bunch by like 4 years.
Yep.
Huh. Well, Lucille was the first one to show a pregnant woman.
Pregnant woman, yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
because women didn't get pregnant in television before that. The story.
No, because they were chaste and
Sure.
They're
you
married.
think, you think Marilyn was chaste? Hell no. Hell no.
Moving on, the Joker movie. Do we want a sequel to that?
No.
Not really.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want a first one.
No, not really.
Well,
If I wanted that level of crazy, I'd go watch fucking Taxi Driver. I don't need it.
Taxi Driver's a better movie too.
It is. Thank you. Thank
King
you.
of Comedy, better movie. All the movies that Todd Phillips was trying to like do his impression of were all better movies.
So, and yes, and it's gonna be called Joker Folie Adieu.
Folie à deux.
Folie
It's
à deux.
it's a shared dementia or shared what is it?
Personality, like split personality.
No. It's like you're oh God, was it? You're both having the same fever dream, basically. Like it's when multiple
Mass
people have the same
psychosis.
the same psychosis.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Doctor.
So it's shared psychosis. That's it. Sorry.
So okay, that doesn't make sense. I don't know. I just I have no like.
Mob mentality, basically.
Also think it's one of those movies. If they make a sequel, it takes away from the first movie.
Who knows? I mean, the first one was kind of good. I mean, I thought it was good. It stands on its own. So if they're gonna make another one, they're gonna have to really not do what the studio says.
It's really dumb that we have a Joker outside of the Batman universe. Okay.
I agree.
So if we didn't have this new Joker introduced in the Batman, and you told me that the Joaquin Phoenix Joker was going to be the Joker for the Batman universe, I'd be totally into it because I didn't want this movie, but I watched it and I agree. It's actually very good and very powerful to me. And makes a very sympathetic Joker.
Right.
So then to have all that be the backstory for the Joker in the Batman movies, I would be into that. But because we know that's not it, and this is literally the Joker verse, that's stupid. I'm sorry. And I don't want it. Not past the first movie.
It doesn't work.
I got what they were doing with the first movie. I got it. You don't need to sell me anymore. There's nothing else to sell me.
Warner is struggling. This new Warner Discovery conglomerate, they need money, so they're going to go back to what works.
But did it work?
No.
Made money.
Did it? Because wasn't that movie? That's when the pandemic was in the height, and they were putting everything on HBO Max, wasn't it?
No, that was before
The first Joker movie was an M80, right? You light it off, you throw it, pop, everybody gets startled, and here we go.
Comparison.
But you do it a second time, no one gives a fuck. That's what this is going to be.
Well, where do you go from there? Where do you go from the ending of that story?
Right.
Like the entire Joker movie was a character progression.
Like he's going to have
Or
a life
degression.
outside of prison after he just shot a fucker on TV.
It's like giving me Falling Down 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
I don't
what
know
do
how
you
this is
do?
going to work. Unless you do Joker in prison.
Right.
I don't know. I've been throwing it. I have no idea. I just was like throwing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Which we kind of just did with the Batman. But anyway.
True.
All right. And the last thing I'll bring up, did everyone see the official trailer for Black Adam?
Yeah, I like
Oh
it.
yeah.
Fuck yeah, this movie's going to rock.
Can't literally.
Oh, that was bad. Yeah.
This is like a DC movie that I have been ready for a long time.
Did it make you more excited, less excited, or you the same?
Much more excited.
Yeah, I agree because my excitement was waning. I'm getting a lot of rock. This movie's been coming out forever, but then we see it. We see Dr. Fate. We see Hawkman, and yeah, it sucked me right back in.
I think this is. John, did you ever read the Black Rain story from Justice Society of America?
No.
No.
Was that
Okay,
Jeff
this
Johns
feels
run?
much that was Jeff Johns' run. Did
Okay,
you read
then
that
I've
one,
read.
Ray?
Yeah, I've read it.
Yeah.
I might talk about it and it might trigger something. I have read it though.
It's basically like it was basically Jeff Johns' take on what was going on at Desert Storm, or not Desert Storm, the Iraqi stuff at the time. It was vaguely like that. This kind of gives me a similar vibe. Black Adam going back to Kondak, trying to fix what's wrong there now.
I remember a little bit of it.
Yeah, the trailer gives me those kind of vibes, which I'm okay with, by the way. So I like Black Adam. Black Adam's probably my favorite like anti-hero character. So I'm into this.
I got a problem with it.
What do you got?
No jungle scene.
No,
you
there'll
can't
be a
have a
jungle.
rock movie.
There'll
You
be a
can't have a
jungle.
rock movie without a jungle.
Give it time.
We don't
They'll
know
be
if
in
there's
a
a jungle scene yet or not.
Yeah,
I mean,
they'll be in a jungle.
he's a
I don't
god. He
care.
can go anywhere on the world. So
I don't think
Go to the jungle.
He's going to a jungle.
Wow.
Don't worry.
They make it seem that way.
Like the Avatar. Like,
Yes. So we'll see.
I'm pretty down with this. I think this looks pretty freaking great, to be honest with you.
Agreed.
It had a very serious tone, and then there's like the joke.
Well, maybe it's like how Suicide Squad was the complete
Like a Marvel
opposite.
movie?
Like
a Marvel
Suicide-
movie. Yeah, exactly.
So Suicide Squad focused more on like the comedy action aspect, right?
Uh-huh.
And it was kind of far fetched from the dark, gritty Justice League, setting, Batman and all that. So this is kind of like the in between, right?
Right.
I'm feeling it. I like the visual look of it. You could take the hood off a little bit more, but yeah, it looks fine to me.
Yeah, but I think that's just something they're going for because of the comics, right?
Yeah, it's a Jeff Johns it's pretty much the Jeff Johns era. Added the hoods to him and Shazam.
Fair enough. I'll take it. Anything's better than the crap that they're gonna, any other. Is Harley Quinn going to appear in this movie? Because I feel like she's in everything.
Chance. There's a 50% chance.
That's what I was going to ask.
Show up.
Yeah, if we're going to see Harley, goddamn, that Suicide Squad movie is good.
My question is, do we see Shazam show up?
It wasn't it?
You have to.
It was.
I think there's a good chance. I mean, it's so weird. Here's what's gonna be weird, because those movies are gonna be so completely different tonally, but the characters are but it fits because the characters, even though they're similar, they're so different tonally.
You'll get an Easter egg.
I'm curious. I think there's a decent chance. Yeah, I think an Easter egg.
That's it.
Safe.
You'll get an Easter egg. That's it.
And a lot of the action pieces that they've shown in the trailer actually kind of gave me like an Iron Man vibe. You remember the trailer for Iron Man back in the day?
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. I do. I can see that.
That's kind of how
I like
this.
I think it looks good. It's
like just shoot the thrill
I like
in the
Pierce
trailer.
Brosnan as
Dr. Fate.
Yeah, I think Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate looks really good. Like I'm down.
Fucking
I'm excited.
awesome. Yeah,
I'm with it.
John,
I hate to give DC any credit.
I'm totally in with this. You're right. This is like one of the few times that I've actually been really excited about a movie that I really want to go see it.
You're in like Flynn.
Do we know exactly how many of the Justice Society we're going to see? I mean, obviously, Dr. Fate, Hawkman.
Adam
We don't
Smasher.
really know much of
Adam
anything about
Smasher.
it.
But are we going to get Starman, Wildcat? I guess it'll be fun to see.
Like, have you heard anything?
Our Man too.
Like, have you heard anything about the story? Like, what it's about? Any leaks that have come out? Nothing. They've kept a pretty good rap on this.
So, I mean, I've seen The Rock do some snippets about going up against bullies, but I mean, yeah.
They really kept
I don't know
hush-hush on
what's
this.
challenging them at all. That's going to be interesting. Because we got fucking Starro for Suicide Squad. So what the fuck are they going to pull out for this one? That's
It's got to be
exciting.
big because he's Black Adam. He's like,
Yeah, it's going to be huge.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just hopefully they don't do some Bizarro bullshit or something. I don't know. That'd be kind of fun,
man.
but
Bizarro.
all right.
All right. Well, that's all the news then. John's falling asleep. So we'll take our last commercial break and we'll be right back with our all-time favorite movie.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
All right, we're back, and
I need to prep first. Hold on.
we're gonna round out the Mint Mobile Marathon
Smooth.
with
Okay.
perhaps Ryan Reynolds' greatest performance as a superhero.
oh
ready.
boy.
When he played Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, back in, what was it, 2011?
2011.
Yeah.
2011.
So we were just talking about Jeff Johns, he was a producer on this, right?
Oh yeah, you could definitely tell he was. Yeah.
All right, so here's the first question going around the room. When you watched this, because I mean, this is one of the most panned superhero movies of all time. I really don't know anyone who watched this and was like, "Oh my god, it was so great." Even back then, was it better, worse, or the same as you remembered it? let's start with JD, since he was chomping at the bit to talk about this movie.
So skip me.
Skip you? You're getting very emotional there, JD.
He's so choked
JD
up
wants
with
to
rage.
feel. JD wants to feel out the room.
Skip. No, skip. I have a story, so I want to be skipped.
Okay.
Okay. Well, then Ray, you.
Oh no, skip me. I have a story.
John, skip you. You have a story.
Short story. This is a bigger piece of shit than I remember. God, I hate this movie. It was like I was trying to do laundry while I was watching it, and I tore a shirt because just God, man, I just blah. I need to watch something else to wash the taste out of my mouth. It's so bad.
Didn't even say why it's so bad.
Oh, I have plenty to say why it's so bad.
Okay,
we'll get into that.
It's the first movie I've ever seen that had a montage of montages. It's like, I mean, come on, man. Like this movie had more tell and less show than almost any other super movie I've ever seen. It was so bad. It was so bad. It knew it could not convey through picture what it wanted to. So it constantly had exposition dump on you.
You must have watched the extended cut.
Whatever's on HBO Max, that's what I watched.
Oh, well, there's an extended cut and there's a regular cut.
Right. Well, I have the Blu-ray downstairs. It's the one that's in the middle of the pentagram with the candles around it to keep it contained.
In a glass case blessed by 10 holy men.
Yes.
All right.
With a nail
next?
from the cross
Who
of the
wants to say?
Savior right in the middle, just to make sure.
I got it.
Better, worse, or the same than you
Don,
remembered?
you want to rock, paper, scissors for it?
Let me just say, it sounds like I'm probably going to have the most positive spin on this movie out of everyone. So let me,
of course,
just start. But understand this comes from the fact that the only Green Lantern arc that I probably ever read in depth was Blackest Night.
Mm.
And in that respect, I can recognize what was done well with this movie, so let me say the CGI and the Green Lantern powers, I thought looked really good. Okay. According to Dave's reaction on our video here, I'm not a great judge of that, but nonetheless, I only had a couple beers while I was watching it.
Oh, beer goggles work on movies too.
Boy, did I like fucking Sinestro, though. I thought that was a great casting. I thought it was wonderfully acted. I loved his speeches, but the writing failed this movie so bad that it ruined that character, because here we have Sinestro and his personally picked squad go after the big bad guy, which is fucking Parallax, by the way. That should not be your first fucking villain in a Green Lantern story arc. But okay, here we are. We needed the guy that looked like Vigo from Ghostbusters 2. So okay. So Sinestro goes with his personally picked Green Lanterns. They cannot subdue Parallax. But somehow, Hal Jordan, this new Green Lantern with very hot girlfriend, by the way. So I don't know. Right. So visually, I like this movie. I like the Oa stuff. I like the setup for the Green Lantern Corps. I liked Sinestro. And I thought, to me, again, the CGI was pretty good for the time. But the casting for Hal Jordan was bad and the writing was bad. And that's what ultimately had this movie just suck a whole bunch of ass. But I didn't hate it. I was kind of entertained. It was just parts of the writing that took me out, which is, again, somehow I get it. Hal Jordan is a very powerful lantern. I get the legacy there, but they didn't write it very well. They didn't make me believe it.
If I may interject, the only good thing that I think came out of this movie was that Ryan Reynolds met Blake Lively, and they shall create the new super race of beautiful humans in the years to come, and that's it.
And that's probably why they cast Ryan Reynolds, because they needed his abs. So you remember that scene where all
to go with Blake Lively's chest or whatever, or eyes, or everything actually.
But they got this whole animated suit, which I thought was kind of cool. But then the mask, it just looked dumb. It just looked rubbery. So I mean,
it's a CG mask. It looked rubbery because it didn't exist.
Yeah, so I think they could have did without that because the girlfriend fucking knew who he was 5 minutes into it. I was watching it with my wife, and she was like, "How the fuck she not know who she is?" I'm like, "Give it a minute."
Exactly. Right. Yeah, but it should have been right away. I mean, come on.
Right.
I will say
she's only known him her entire life. I mean,
it's a movie where they finally like say, yes, a domino mask does nothing to disguise a person's face,
except for when an entire bunch of people at a party, most of whom know him by face.
Yeah, they work with him. It was most of his colleagues and everything. Yeah.
All right, Ray.
There's so much more I could say about this thing. Oh God, I hate this movie.
You want to know?
I know the DC faithful will probably hate this way more than I do, so I'm going to admit that. The less I know is probably why I've got a little bliss going on with this.
Better, worse, the same than you remembered it?
Same.
Okay.
Same. I have seen the regular cut and I've seen the extended cut. I could see a couple of things from the extended cut that I would have wanted in the regular cut, but instead I have to pick one or the other. There is so much dump in the extended cut. There's no need to, unless you're really invested in the Hal Jordan character. If you're looking for more Green Lantern action, you're not going to find it in the extended cut. Honestly, if you
more
just
exposition.
Yep. It's more deep dive into Hal Jordan and his personal life and his relationships and all that. You get a couple more scenes with Hector, which I appreciate. He needed more screen time. I liked what's his name, Peter Skarsgård. Thought he was great.
He's a Sarsgaard, not a Skarsgård.
What the shit's the difference?
Who knows? I don't know. It's like apparently Skarsgårds.
They all take weird roles. There you go.
I know.
Now, is this Taika Waititi's like first dive into the superhero trope?
Might be, actually.
I believe so.
What a way to start.
Yes, and such a powerful movie. So,
well, I mean, if you want to watch the extended cut, like I said, if you got the time and you want to put in the love, then watch the extended cut, but you're not going to get anything out of it. Watch the theatrical cut. You know, I do the same thing with Aliens. If I'm in the mood for all that extra story and disposition, I will watch the extended cut, the special edition, the Cameron cut, if you will. But if I'm in the mood just to watch Aliens the way I remember it, then I will just watch the regular theatrical Aliens cut. So for Green Lantern, watch the regular one. Do not watch the extended unless you really adore the movie.
Well, so nobody's watching that then.
That's the version that most people get on Amazon and Tubi and all that. They get the freaking extended one. I just want the regular one. Didn't want to watch the extended one. Don't care.
Yeah. All right. JD, are you ready to tell your story?
When I started reading comics again in 2005, I bought 2 trade paperbacks. It was Batman, The Long Halloween, and Green Lantern Rebirth.
Okay.
Green Lantern Rebirth is one of my favorite books. I think that I was a Jeff Johns apologist for a long time because I really like this book. Like when I stopped reading Green Lantern was when Hal Jordan massacred thousands upon millions of people. I did not like that. The original Parallax thing.
Yeah.
I thought there was a lot of imagination and creativity that went into this series. And the subsequent series that Jeff Johns wrote, Don just left the show. Don's back. Don's gone. Don's back. I loved the series. I loved the Green Lantern comic. At one point in the mid 2000s, Green Lantern was my favorite book and probably my favorite character.
Okay.
Under Jeff Johns, the Sinestro Corps War, I loved it. I loved Blackest Night. Right. I followed it as it was coming out. Like I was like all up on the Green Lantern. Like it was my jam. And I told you guys I made a movie in New Orleans in 2008. And a lot of my friends from that movie, including my best friend, worked on Green Lantern because it was being made in Louisiana. So I was so excited for this movie to come out. And I watched this movie and I left the movie and I said to myself, that was awesome. I lied to myself for about a good 2 weeks because I wanted to like this movie so badly. And I was reading the online hate for it. And I was like, these people are crazy. And I remember I was sitting at home in my bed and I was on my phone and this movie fucking sucks. Like it was like a come to Jesus moment where I was like, I had to admit to myself because I was like, oh, that Parallax is not good. Like it reminded me of Galactus. And Fantastic Four 2. Yep. And like, ooh, instead of a purple fart, it was a yellow fart. That's not good. And the Hal Jordan stuff, that's not right. And like, they're really rushing through all this. That's really not good. Oh, and Sinestro, oh, he put the yellow ring on. That's cool. It doesn't make any sense that he did it right now, but
And an after credit scene of all time.
and an after credit thing, but that's cool that he did it. But this was a good movie. No, I mean, this is everything I like about Green Lantern. Ryan Reynolds was not right for Hal Jordan, but it's Green Lantern. It just no, and this movie and Man of Steel taught me that to stop being excited about movies that come out.
Yeah.
Because I want to like them so badly, right? That I'm willing to forgive so much stuff. And then at the same moment with Man of Steel, the second time I saw Man of Steel, and I said, "Can he please stop killing people?" Like I was literally what I said to myself when I was watching it the drive in life. I'm like, "Will he please just stop killing people?" like this is both those movies the exact same to me. And like Green Lantern should so be an easy movie. It's Training Day. It's Training Day in space.
Yep.
That's all it has to be. And I remember there's this interview with Jeff Johns before Green Lantern comes out. He goes, "We've got a plan for 4 Green Lanterns." And all I can think is, why don't we just work on one and make sure one was really good? Because Martin Brest is the guy who directed, I believe it was Goldeneye. And I'm like, Goldeneye was good, but he never really worked with special effects before. And I was hearing stories from my buddy. He's like, "Oh, this should be fun. This should be fun." And he swears up and down the extended cut is a lot better. This movie was wrong. Everything about it was. I don't hate the CGI suit or the CGI mask because it's supposed to be made of light, right? The Green Lantern costume is made of light. The Green Lantern mask is a light construct. I am okay with that. What I am not okay with is everything else about this movie. They shoehorn it's the stuff that makes Jeff Johns comics entertaining, where you have to have these years and years of background to get it.
Right.
Doesn't
you didn't
work
need to do that with this.
No, that's the problem. Is the stuff that I like about his comics doesn't work in a movie.
I have a question.
Please don't.
Angela Bassett as Amanda Waller. Dr. Amanda Waller.
Why doctor?
That's what I was going to ask. Was she ever a fucking doctor in the comics? Because I'm not a...
No. And why use that character in that way?
Because this was going to springboard their universe.
Why did Hector Hammond get possessed by the parallax, and that explains his psychic powers and his brain growth and all that? That never happened.
That happened in Secret Origin. Jeff Johns' Green Lantern origin retelling, which was basically him doing the movie before they did it.
But it didn't make any sense.
I haven't read Secret Origin in a very long time.
It hasn't aged well.
The Jeff Johns run that JD is talking about, I own, and very rarely do I collect every single individual issue. But that Jeff Johns, I own everything and every variant cover.
Me too. Well, I don't own the variants, but I own every issue. Yeah. I like that when that was Wednesdays that would come out. Like Jeff Johns' Green Lantern would make me go, "Oh boy!" I remember CBR they had that forum, right? They started a Green Lantern tab when that movie came out, because this was like Green Lantern had arrived. Like I remember there was it's not a trinity anymore. There's 4 major characters in DC, and then Green Lantern became like a laughing stock.
Yeah,
I used to have a Green Lantern insignia on my keychain. Like I love Green Lantern, and like I'm not gonna lie, this movie helped really kill my affinity for that property and Jeff Johns' work in general, because I spotted it. Like all the stuff that was wrong about the movie was the Johnsiest stuff.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it.
Stuff.
This isn't so much a movie as it is a loose collection of exposition, cliches, tired stereotypes, and light speed montages. That's all this thing
100%.
is. It is the movie. This movie wasn't written. It was just nailed together, staple gunned together by the studio.
This is the worst example of movie by committee.
Yeah,
that's probably best example too, by the fact that what was it, Sinestro constructed a Captain America shield and then threw it.
Yeah. In the training montage.
Yeah.
Yep.
Quickest training montage in history, by the way.
But that's the thing. That was a montage of montages. It was exposition about where it was and how things worked, and then the training montage, and then the breaking down the character montage.
John,
it was 3 montages in a row.
That's not a bad thing. Let me give you Rocky 4.
But that's 3. That's like 3 movies worth of stuff. I mean,
but Rocky 4. But it can be done. Rocky 4 and Rocky 3 are nothing but back-to-back montages, and it works. There's lots of movies. Top Gun is nothing but back-to-back montage.
But it doesn't work when it's only like
You're
10
right.
minutes in an entire movie.
No, you're right. You're right. There's a lot of stuff that has to be done. Like if you're gonna, because that was the MTV style of film of the 80s. Like MTV has such a major influence on movies of the 80s that, especially in the mid to late 80s, you see a lot of things that are back-to-back montages, and that's the influence of music video culture, right? I don't mind when stuff does that. This doesn't do it well, though.
Yeah. I'll tell you where I knew this movie went wrong. It was right in the beginning when they started doing narration.
I thought it was right at the DC logo.
Well, true, true. But
So-
the thing is, like, this movie, you're right. Yeah, I forget who said it. Parallax should not have been in this. That was too big a thing to put in here, a villain. But when they started right off with trying to explain everything, the whole point of watching a movie like this is the wonder of experiencing all this new stuff through the eyes of a character who doesn't know anything either. And that's you get the experience of that character discovering all this stuff, and you get to discover it with them, and that helps with you identifying with them or at least caring about them. You didn't get any of that because it goes right into, oh, and then there's a Green Lantern Corps and this and that and the other thing. It's like, no, you just spoiled everything.
Yeah.
You know,
oh, the Guardians had 3,900 sectors in each sector. Yeah, you're
they
right.
didn't have
Well,
to,
I mean, it started
and
off-
they explained everything like 4 or 5 times. through the
Which they
movie.
could have done that through Hal's journey, becoming Green
Right.
Lantern, learning that stuff.
Yeah.
Which is
Instead,
what
no,
they
they tell you all that up front. And it's like, why? There was no, you didn't have to explain that.
Because you know what it is? It's like when you open a comic book, when you get that, remember the famous thing at the very top of a comic, it tells you all the backstory you need to start reading the
yeah,
first
that's a comic book, not a movie, though.
Exactly.
here's
But
the
that's the
thing.
thing. That's what happened. People like they should let the people from the comics write the movies.
Yep.
Not always.
Mm-hmm.
That was that's my thing too, right? Like the reason I asked the question is I do think I felt it was worse than I remembered, because I remember, being younger and loving comic books and comic book movies and going to see this in the theater and being like, it wasn't good, but I don't think it's the worst thing ever. 2011, what did we have out at that point?
A lot of Marvel stuff. That was the same year that Thor and Captain America came out.
Was it
For everything before Avengers would be 2012. So anything before that you had.
They're already
Iron Man.
playing They're already playing catch up at this point.
Okay. But I mean, I don't think I thought it was that bad. But like now that we're at this point,
well, no, this
11
is
years
where they
later-
needed. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
11 years later, it's like, no, that was really bad. It was just, it wasn't so much that it was a bad superhero movie. It's a bad movie. Like the pacing is terrible. It's all over the place. We take so much
Pacing?
time.
There was pacing. I mean,
We take so much time with setting up the Green Lanterns and Avian Soar in the beginning, and then Hal gets the ring, uses it once, and boom, he's swapped off to Oa to learn. And it was like, wait, what? We didn't get any time with Hal yet, other than one scene of him flying around being a jerk.
just to add to what you're saying, everything can be summed up about this movie. Everything can be summed up with what Kilowog says at the end of the movie. Can I trade him or can I trade him? You had him for 30 seconds.
Yes.
Like
Nothing is earned. Nothing is earned in this movie.
Right. Exactly.
So much is just happening. And it's like, it's not resonating with any of it. This movie, they try to put 2 movies into one. This movie should either been Hal finds the ring and stuff happens and he doesn't know it. And at the end, you find out that there's a whole nother world and then he leaves. Or Hal is completely failed. Everything is broken. Nothing works. His life is meaningless. He finds the ring and then he disappears and has an adventure in space. You can't do both. You can't do both.
So I think the most egregious thing in this movie, and tell me if you agree with this or not, besides the terrible story, the parallax being in it, the pacing, Ryan Reynolds casting as Hal Jordan, because when you get Ryan Reynolds, you get Ryan Reynolds. It works for Deadpool. It doesn't work for Hal Jordan.
No, he's totally wrong.
I kept waiting for the punchline. I kept waiting for it, and it doesn't come, and that's wholly unsatisfying. And it doesn't come, I get it, because it's Hal Jordan. So yeah, it doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
By the way, other movies that came out around this time was Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. What else? Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows Part 2, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, Captain America First Avenger. What else here? Green Lantern. There were a couple of other big ones.
All right. So other than
Sucker
Captain
Punch,
America,
Cabin
that's
in the
all
Woods.
lame. all
I'm
lame.
going to
Sorry,
say
guys.
X-Men First Class came out too.
I'm going to say this. So
Oh,
we
that's a good
had
movie.
all the Harry Potter movies at that point. We've had every Marvel movie except the Avengers at that point. We've had a lot of CGI heavy movies up to that point. We've had the Hulk running around. I mean, it wasn't a great movie, but twice. So to sit there and say the CGI was okay for the time, like, no, that's not even true. That CGI was not good for 2011.
It wasn't. But you had a director who didn't know how to work with it. Like Martin Brest had never done the special effects heavy movie before.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the best superhero. They shouldn't have the best studio. They should have had like Weta or something like that working on this, or ILM. Like, it wasn't good. It's not good. Nothing looks good in this movie. Nothing.
Right. And yes, I agree. It makes sense that the costume should be CGI because it's created from nothing. It's created from light, but it has to look good. It has to be believable that he's wearing something and that there's actually a mask on his face, not just paint green on him.
Yeah.
Like there was no depth to the mask. Like it looks like he just has weird green light painted on his face.
Why did they have to change his eyes to blue? Did Hal Jordan have blue eyes? Well, he had brown eyes in part of the movie. Blue
Kind of went
eyes
to
in-
white, actually.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
It was
Yeah.
white. Yeah.
They're supposed to be white. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like none of this.
How does he
They
know
have a-
the oath?
Like I'm not a CGI snob.
Oh, I think
thought
the
it
ring
looked
tells him.
okay.
Okay.
He
But they
gets it from
never
the ring.
Don't make
talk about the
excuses for
ring
this
talking
movie.
to him. Like the
No.
ring talks in the comics,
Does.
Yeah.
but it never talks in this movie.
No, it's just in his brain.
But
Doesn't
then
make
why
me
not?
just know.
There was so much stupid dialogue over top of the movie to give you exposition before it started.
They
Why
don't-
not have the ring talk?
They don't got time for that. They got to get to the next scene.
Because
They've
it's a-
only-
That's hiring
bad-
another voice actor, man.
It's a bad movie. It's a bad movie made with. It's a movie that they made thinking it was going to be a success. So like the dedication isn't there. Like Jeff Johns has done. Again, I was an apologist for a long time. Jeff Johns is also the guy behind all the problems with the Justice League stuff. Like
What about
he's done
Mark
more-
Guggenheim?
Mark Guggenheim and Michael Green wrote the original treatment for this. Like this is basically like the entire Arrowverse is basically a make good for basically taking these guys away from their pitch. They made the pitch. They got this movie greenlit, and then DC did the smart thing. They brought in the guy who'd made the comic a success, and they were trying to make Jeff Johns their Kevin Feige, and it didn't. He's done more irreparable damage to their film universe than I care to admit.
True. Very true.
True.
Too
But
bad.
they
'Cause
probably-
his
they
favorite
probably
Marvel
saw-
character is Colossus.
They probably saw the success of Marvel at that point, where they're
They did.
like, we can do no wrong here. Superheroes are hot right now. This Avenger movie is coming out next year because I believe the trailer had been shown at Green Lantern for Avengers, right?
I believe so.
Probably, and that's probably the only reason it made 19 million profit.
Well, no, it made money because people like wanted to see it. Like they marketed this campaign. They marketed it really well.
That's the thing, that it was $200 million budget and a $219 million box office.
Ooh.
And most of it was overseas. Most of the money was made back overseas.
Yeah.
Like it was the number one movie the week it came out because it was marketed decently. There
Yeah, it
were
was.
concerns. People were bitching about the special effects, but they still came out to see it because the trailers aren't fantastic, but they aren't terrible. Like they don't let you know just how bad the movie's going to be. Mark Strong as Sinestro is spot on casting, and he's really good given what he's getting.
Yeah, he's probably the best thing in the movie.
Peter
I honestly
Skarsgård
think.
as Hector. Hector Hammond's not a good character that Jeff Johns absolutely loves. Like he's fine. Ryan Reynolds isn't right. They auditioned Chris Pine, and Chris Pine has talked about that he fucked up the audition. He's like, I didn't get it. I didn't get what they were doing. Like his Captain Kirk is Hal Jordan.
Well, that's
especially in the
okay.
first.
They didn't get it either. So
They didn't. But I mean, like again, he doesn't fix this movie.
no.
But he's also part of the problem. Like it's also part of the problem is they wanted a star, and
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds isn't the guy. And for the right, he's not right. And he'll tell you that too to this day. He's not right for this role.
He was never right for the role.
No, he knows it too. But they wanted a star. And like
Well-
this movie, and Blake Lively is not right for Carol Ferris either. Like Carol Ferris should be an older person, should be an older woman, not old, but like someone in their 30s.
And
You
she
know,
was
is it-
like a
yeah.
Lois Lane. She was like, go get it. Like she was.
She
power
owns
woman,
everything.
yeah.
She's the boss.
Yeah.
Carol
Yeah.
owns everything. Like she's in charge. Like it wasn't. They casted a pretty girl from TV,
Mm-hmm.
right? She's done good stuff in like The Town and things.
She
like
was
that, but
right
again,
off of
that's not-
Gossip Girl, right?
Right off
Like,
of Gossip Girl.
Yeah.
Again, they wanted the star, and Mark Strong was kind of hot at that point too as a villain. Like on paper, I can see why they thought it was going to work. But I mean, they just didn't get it. Which again, the funny part is it's the guy that revitalized the character who's really behind all this.
Was he really the decision maker at that point? Like I know
100%.
he was produced.
He was the producer. He was the producer. Like
executive producer or just a producer?
No, he was a producer. The executive producer doesn't do anything. The executive producer writes a check. The producer is the guy making all the calls, and he's the liaison with DC Comics. Like again, if you watch this thing and read the comics, like it's the through line is there. Like it's Jeff Johns, right? And they quickly buried him too when it failed. They quickly said, like the Variety and all that quickly said, "Oh, Jeff Johns," blah blah blah. And they threw him under the bus. And as a fanboy, I kind of was like, "Oh no, that is totally not." But I mean, like it's him. Again, when you go back to what was wrong with Justice, all of the variations on Justice League, Dave is exploding in front of us.
Sorry.
I mean, like, that's the reason. Again, I don't know if we get another Green Lantern movie because this one was such a failure.
Well, we got an animated show, didn't we? We got Emerald Knight, the movie, and then we got a animated show, right?
The animated show
that was before.
Was it before? Okay.
I think so.
The animated show was good, but it wasn't the same characterization of Hal Jordan as what seems to be prevalent in a lot of the DC movies now, whereas Hal Jordan is just a chump. Like
I don't know
like in the was it Justice League War animated movie? Like, Hal Jordan's like, oh, I'll get Darkseid. He goes up and then he just takes the first hit and he's down right away. Like a lot of it just seems to be a meme now where Hal Jordan is just this weak idiot boob type guy who, he's got the ring and everything, but he's always like even in the Lego movies, he goes up to Superman. Hey, Superman, how you doing? Oh, I got to leave. Sorry. It's like, it just seems to be a meme now where they've made Hal Jordan to be out just like this, weak idiot on the side. They'd have to change. They need to change that, but they need a good movie to do that.
Look at that's his reputation from this way. The Green Lantern TV show cartoon came out the same year, 2011.
Oh wow!
And it was good. It was really, really good.
Very good.
That ended too early because there were so many threads in that movie in that show that could have been continued.
Skewed too old.
I know, but that's what happened with My Little Pony, and look what happened. They got 9 seasons out of it and made millions of dollars in merchandising. They could have. This was ready made for that audience. They could have done massive amounts of good things with it, but they just. I don't know. Maybe they was missing something.
This movie is 11 years old, and you still think that there's too much stink on it for them to take another chance on Green Lantern?
On the Hal Jordan Green Lantern property in of itself, yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's kind of why they moved on, right? They're not doing Hal this time around.
Well, they did John Stewart in CW.
I think they're doing John now.
Yeah.
Are they?
So they're going to have to come with
that confirmed?
Not confirmed, but that's pretty much. I believe it was in development at HBO Max.
Yeah, they were going to do a TV show, not a movie.
Not a movie.
Okay.
Well, cops in space.
Pretty much.
Which, like I said, Training Day. It's right there. Sinestro trains him. He turns on Sinestro. He sees how evil Sinestro is because Sinestro basically rules Korrigar like Hitler. Like if you look at the art of Sinestro, it's space Hitler, right? It's all there. It's all there.
Yeah.
I just don't get how they didn't see that was all of their material was right there. And then you can get into this stuff. Then you can build, because he wanted to get to his Blackest Night stuff. Like he wanted to get into his Sinestro Cold War. Like you can see, if you read it, you see where it's going. But I mean, like, you got to put the cart before the horse, man. You got to do a good movie first.
They
got to make people fall in love with the character.
They needed Captain America, the First Avenger, and they just took 3 movies and packed them into one.
I don't love that movie as much as I wanted to. Like Captain America, First Avenger is not as good as Captain America, Winter Soldier.
Absolutely
right?
not.
Right. No,
and
but have you gone back to it lately?
I have.
It was a good
it's
introduction.
Good. It is. But for me personally, it's not everything I wanted a Captain America movie to be. For me personally, I just think I don't know. There's not enough Red Skull, quite frankly.
Right. But if this movie had taken its time with, like you said, Training Day, forget any big, villains, have the villain be his dealing with trying to learn how to use his powers.
No. The villain is there. The villain is Sinestro, right? That's Training Day. Like you said, the villain is the guy he's working. And then
I can see that. Yeah.
That's how it works.
But they didn't even give, right. And that goes back to why at the end of this movie that the after credits is like, oh, I'm going to put the yellow ring on. It's like, yeah, because
where did it come from? With the Sinestro they gave us in the movie, that doesn't fit.
Nope. It was Jeff Johns. Like I said, that's the kind of stuff he does. Like throwing, like the last issue, Sinestro Corps, issue 1, the book, the last page. He turned the last page. Who's sitting there? The Anti-Monitor.
Yep.
Why? Because it's a moment, right? And they kind of make it work in the series, but it's the shock and awe moment. They wanted the nerds to be like, they wanted the moment that they had in Avengers when you get to that post-credit sequence and you have Thanos and everybody goes, dude, and they get it. That's what they were going for a year earlier with this, but they don't stick the landing. And again, Marvel had been doing that. You had the Nicolas Cage, the Samuel Jackson, Nick Fury thing.
Yep.
Right. They wanted that moment.
But it worked because it flowed, because it made sense.
Yes, they didn't make sense. Right. Didn't make
and
sense.
It's a small moment. And here's a question too. Like, and again, I know you're saying Blackest Night is where
that's where they want to go. 100%.
But like, again, this has always been the issue too with a lot of superhero stuff. You start with Parallax and him defeating Parallax by himself. Where do you go from there?
Right.
Really, like that's what a lot of people are thinking. You know, like it's just going to get more ridiculous.
And he beat him with a freaking boxing glove. Come on.
Yeah, no, that was that's why I complained about Sinestro and his crew couldn't do it. But all of a sudden, Hal Jordan with a couple of constructed F-16s or whatever, F-35s in the sun can do it.
What about when Carol hit him with the missiles and knocked him back?
Yeah.
Come on.
But like, there's only one way to go from here. And that's like us seeing like Necron and Black Adam, and then like Bruce Wayne, Batman, and Superman come out of the grave as Black Lanterns. Like, that's the only way you top this.
Yeah, but
that's too much, too soon.
But around that
100%.
time, Don, you had only had what? Superman and Green Lantern at that point, right?
No, Superman didn't even come out yet. This is 2 years before Superman.
That's what I mean. You don't have the established characters to do a Blackest Night. So where does your story go?
That's the problem. That's the problem. That's the problem. They want all this right now instead of building this universe. And Green Lantern is the wrong guy to launch the universe, in my opinion. That's what they went with.
Forget building the universe. They had to build the character.
That's the problem too. Iron Man, it's nothing but a character study. Right? The first Iron Man movie, nothing but exploring Tony Stark.
They showed him basically changing his entire philosophy.
Hal doesn't grow as a person. Like there's no, just from pure storytelling perspective, there is no growth in the Hal Jordan character.
Yep.
Right. He just exists. Like, and it's, again, in comics, you don't want too much growth in a character, but in a film, that character has to get from A to B and change, especially in a first movie. We don't get that at all in this.
No,
like this movie should have been that's the greatest failure of this. It should have been so easy to make this movie. And it's a colossal failure on so many levels.
Yeah.
And God, I hate this movie.
Do we have anything positive to say about Green Lantern?
So hard to watch.
Blake Lively's pretty.
Yeah, that's basically.
Sinestro was pretty good.
He sure is.
Yeah, Mark Strong's really good at Sinestro.
Yeah.
He's
Sinestro.
He maximizes his minutes, and he does a lot with a little.
I thought Kilowog looked good. I thought proper voice casting. That's how I always kind of heard him when I would read Kilowog in the comics. It kind of sounded like that piggy snarl.
For all of the 5 seconds he was on screen,
we needed more.
Yeah. Now, in the comics, when Hal Jordan gets the ring, does he actually meet the person? And I don't want to say his name because I'm going to say Sabinor. I always confuse him with Apocalypse and Sabinor. So Abin-Sur, does he actually meet him?
Yes.
Or does he just like get the ring? Like, oh, hey, what the fuck?
No. He actually found Abin-Sur's crash.
He found Abin-Sur as it's pretty much as it is in the comics. Like Abin-Sur is dying, and then he tells him, "You're not part of the Green Lanterns." And Hal's like, "What?"
Yeah.
Okay.
Why was he in a spaceship?
Yeah, it's a big thing. The most powerful Green Lantern in the world can travel faster than light with the ring, but he's got a spaceship.
That's an Alan Moore question, Alan. That's why Alan Moore writes the story Tigers, where he gets the prophecy that Jeff Johns' entire run is based on this short story that Alan Moore wrote called Tigers, where Abin-Sur gets I think it's Atrocitus, gives him this prophecy of the Blackest Night. And so if you will die and blah 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 blah. So Abin-Sur flew in a spaceship so that he wouldn't use up his ring.
Atrocitus was the Red Lantern.
Red Lantern.
How cool would it have been to have had like all the cores like come together in like a movie?
They want. That's what they wanted.
But they should have done that in movie 4.
Yes, that's the problem.
That would have been really cool, man. Seeing like Atrocitus and like
because like
an Armadillo and Oh man, that would have been so good.
But those like indigo lanterns and shit, though, they get really fucking deep in the woods there. So yeah, that's
Super
movie
deep.
4.
They do, and blue lanterns, buffing up the Green Lantern.
That's the thing too. Is there's so
Atrocitus is cool as fuck though.
Atrocitus is badass. There's so much with the Green Lantern property, right? You've got 5 Earth Lanterns, right?
It's its own universe itself.
It really is. So I mean, like, but all you do is start with the one. Give us one to care about, whose journey we can like move with, because like you said, John, it's very much you do a great fish out of water story.
Yep.
Right. Like I said, in my perfect world, he's Green Lantern. Like he becomes a Green Lantern, trains with under Kilowog, right? And then he goes and does stuff with Sinestro. He sees what Sinestro is, gives up the ring, fights with Kat Matsui, because that's who takes Sinestro's spot. Yep. And then he embraces the ring at the end and defeats Sinestro. It's so easy.
If they had gotten rid of all the green screens and done like, here's Oa, here's a planet.
No, you need the green screens.
No, well, no, but they could, but they could have done like, okay, he's training. Go to a desert and you have CGI effects, but all the green screen stuff and everything, it made it feel like he was just visiting a video game.
Only because it's bad. If it was good, we wouldn't say it. Like, let's look at the video walls they do in the Star Wars stuff now.
Probably, right? Yes.
If the special effects were good, we wouldn't say that.
But like again, I agree with what you said. It's like if it had just been like, okay, we're going to train you now. Maybe had a side
training mission
quest with Sinestro starting to like change his viewpoint while he's dealing with the Hal, but have that be the whole movie, and maybe have a smaller bad guy that Hal has to deal with on the side. His new
like first fight, parallax, boom.
Yeah, exactly.
JD already said it earlier this episode.
Yeah,
if the story is good, you don't care about the special effects. Mm-hmm. The special effects could be as bad as they are in this movie. If it was a good movie, no one would have cared.
Right, but the thing is, like,
they would care, but we would forgive it. Yeah, right? It would be forgiven.
And there's good special effects, like in Endgame, where you're looking at a field of people and a little battlefield, and there's special effects like this where it looks like they are literally the background's just a video.
That's the thing. It's like Endgame is nothing but special effects and green screen.
Right, by the way, but it looks okay.
But it looks great. Yeah, and we feel something because we feel the background, characters.
The background fits the current scene. In here, every scene was just 2 characters in front of a video game. The background made no sense whatsoever.
I agree.
I loved in this movie at the end with Parallax fight how there's a magic line around the sun that if you cross the line, you just burst into flames. Like, you don't burn up as you get closer and closer because of the intense heat. It's like, no, you just pass a magic line and burn up. It was just like...
Yeah, quick side note, little bit of science fact for people listening. The corona of the sun is millions of degrees, but the actual surface of the sun is only about 10,000. So like there is a ring around the sun where things burn up. But you're right, Dave. It would be like everybody thinks you have to walk up to lava and get really close to get too hot.
Right.
No,
exactly.
you get within
Heat
20,
radiates.
30 feet of lava, your skin starts to burn. That's the way the sun is too. But the whole premise of his, I'll just go towards the sun. Yeah, Parallax being a millions of years old entity would never think that, maybe I shouldn't go near the sun.
Here's the thing. Like, remember Star Trek 4? We can all agree Star Trek 4 is an awesome movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do they go back in time? They fly around the sun.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Right.
It doesn't fucking matter if the story is good. Right? If the story is good and the characters,
stupid.
Yes, it's completely stupid. But if you care about the characters and you're engaged in the story, it doesn't. You're allowed yourself to slip. You only get to these logical things. Well, this doesn't make sense. If the whole foundation of the house is shit, right? If your house is built in toothpicks and it all falls down, then you can start really like critiquing. Well, the wallpaper was really bad.
Like if your house is built on Amber Heard's bed.
It's not God, here we go.
It's smelly.
Shall we not, please?
It's a shitty foundation. Yeah, this movie, like I said, this is one of the most disappointing. I hate this movie more than I hate Man of Steel, and I really hate Man of Steel.
Wow.
Like Man of Steel is just like you had it and you flew flew close to the sun. It's an Icarus thing. You fly so close. Oh, you almost had it. You fucked it up. This one is just like, what are we doing? What is going on here? What was anybody thinking making this movie?
Money. They were going based on a name and the hype around superhero movies at the time. That's it.
That's 100% right.
Yeah.
Here's an idea.
But they fucked up because they should have been like, hey, this is where we need to establish our universe. And you're right. They totally cheaped out. I'm like, superheroes are big. Let's do this.
Do you think because they made so this is the same year as the last Harry Potter movie?
Wow,
right?
it is.
But that had legacy.
No, but I'm saying, do you think Warner Brothers was thinking we can do no wrong at this point?
I don't know if they were thinking we can do no wrong so much as they were thinking we need something else.
Yeah. Okay.
They're seeing the hundreds of millions of dollars being made by Marvel, and they're like, well, we want a piece of that pie. Here, put out Green Lantern. Hey, Ryan Reynolds, get him in here. He's funny, right? Hal Jordan's funny, right? Well, funny. Put them together. It'll be hilarious.
And we'll never see him in the Marvel universe again because they just fucked him over at Fox.
I wouldn't doubt that it denied Ryan Reynolds a lot of roles after this movie.
Oh, I think his career hurt a lot after this.
Yeah.
Right? Because he really didn't do a whole lot before Daredevil. Like, I think it was hurting him. I think this movie was
Deadpool.
Yeah, I think did I say Daredevil? I meant Deadpool.
You said Daredevil.
I meant Deadpool. Like, I think he had a hard time finding stuff after this because when you're a leading man and you like say what you want, people blame the leading man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure what Martin Brest really did after this either, to be honest with you.
But yeah, you're right. It drove him to the point to where he was willing to like leak shit out to get the Deadpool movie made. So yeah, this beat him to the point of desperation, I think.
Right. And this is still years. Like, I think the Deadpool thing leaks in like 2012, 2014, something like that. Like, and it was a while before. So this is 11.
Okay,
and Deadpool
hold
was
on.
getting made till 16 or 15, something like that.
2011.
Martin Campbell. I said Martin Brest. I meant Martin Campbell.
2011 was for Ryan Reynolds was Green Lantern, The Change Up, and The Whale.
Imagine this is the only film that someone cares about is Green Lantern. Holy shit, he had a bad year. 2016 for Deadpool.
2012 is Safe House. Ted. He was in Ted.
But he's a bit part in Ted, like he said.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
R.I.P. Teeth.
R.I.P.D.
Another failure.
A lot of people shit on R.I.P.D. man. A lot of people sleep on it though because it actually has decent parts.
It wasn't as bad as people say. Yeah.
It failed though. It was a failure.
Yes,
oh yeah.
It was.
Something came out that same exact week and they thought they could go head to head with it, but I cannot remember what it was.
But it wasn't as bad as this movie.
No. God.
It was at least entertaining. This one, like, you could almost play a drinking game of, what are they going to say next? And you could literally come up with what their lines were before they said them because it was so cliche.
Dude,
every line.
He doesn't do anything after because that's another failure though at the box office.
Okay,
two failures.
You know what? Before Deadpool is The Hitman's Bodyguard.
That wasn't too bad.
Yeah, that was a fairly big movie. So I think that, might have helped get
I am on
Deadpool
IMDb and I'm not seeing that.
I was on Wikipedia on his film page.
Should they have taken the risk on this though? I mean,
Hitman's Bodyguard came out in 2017.
2010 had Jonah Hex,
wait a
and
minute.
that was a
here?
flop.
They should.
I was like, oh, you're right. Deadpool 2 was after.
The problem was they
Bodyguard.
shouldn't have done this at all. They were trying again. They were already trying to catch up with Marvel, and it was stupid because it's like it just shows that over 12 years they've never gotten it. They've never understood why the Marvel stuff is so popular, or they understand it. It's just that the studio is so bad at interfering that nobody there can actually execute.
No, I think it goes back to this is an argument I heard in the 80s about the comics is that if you want good storytelling and good character development, you read Marvel. If you want big, bombastic, gods on earth action, you read DC.
But DC has good stories. They have plenty of material, whether or not, DC is the gods walk the earth thing, but there's still plenty of really good, really exciting stories to tell. They just suck at making movies out of them.
Well, but at the same time,
non-Batman movie.
True.
They declare Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman as the holy trinity of DC. So you're right, John. There is a lot of cool shit in DC, but even to themselves, it's always been Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman.
Except here, Here they did stretch. They did get out of their comfort zone. They did try something. They just they hired the wrong people. Martin Campbell never should have made this movie.
So the biggest properties for Marvel were Spider-Man and X-Men. Marvel didn't own the rights to do those movies. So they did Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor, and then gave us the Avengers.
Which gave them the defensiveness, I guess, I don't know, or at least the smarts to say, listen, we don't have marquee shit here, so we got to make it good.
Okay, so let's examine what Marvel did, though. Marvel had they bankrolled their own movies. They had a distribution deal. That's it with Paramount. Very similar to the first Star Wars movie, right? They hired a filmmaker who was younger in his career, who did have experience. He had a hit. But he had also released a little known movie that had a lot of CG effects in it. I can't remember the name of the movie. It was a kid's movie, but he had experience doing this, right? So they hired that guy, with a lot of vision. These guys went and hired a guy who made like The Mask of Zorro, Goldeneye, like a guy who had a veteran, but not like a guy who had the experience of making a big budget, a special effects driven movie.
But The Mask of Zorro was really good.
I enjoyed The Mask of Zorro.
Yeah,
but it's not
Antonio Banderas.
Banderas. It's not a bad movie.
Either of them.
No, I like both of them actually, but they're not the same kind of movie, right? Like
but the direction was good.
But you can draw a through line from Iron Man to Elf, right? There's similar stories.
Iron Man.
There really are. There really are.
Ow.
Yeah, because he directed Elf. John Favreau's first movie was Elf.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of guy, fish out of water, trying to reevaluate his life. Like this, like the nuts and bolts of a story are there. They didn't do that here. They tried to skip to the end. That's been DC's problem. They never do the legwork to get these movies right. They do with Batman.
Well, they did with Justice League. They skipped to the end. I mean, skip
to the end. It's the same thing.
Let's do Batman versus Superman. Why are you doing Batman versus Superman?
Let's not only do Batman versus Superman. Let's do Batman versus Superman and throw Wonder Woman in there, and then we'll put Doomsday.
Yeah,
and Lex Luthor.
Right, but nothing canon from the comics. Nothing that you'd recognize.
I'm fine. I'm okay with like abandoning stuff from the comics if it's the purpose is to make a good movie. Like, because it's a different medium. You have to make a good movie. Like, you just take what you need from the comics and do everything else, right? Because that's Iron Man. It's not 100% comic accurate, but there's enough stuff there to make a good movie, right? And they had comic book people working on that movie, but the focus was, how do we make people fall in love with Iron Man?
Yep.
So they casted Robert Downey Jr., who again, that was a risk. That was a guy coming
because
off.
He was coming off of his drug.
But again, he did Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and that was his big comeback movie. And they said, okay, now here you go. Here's a big movie. Can you handle it? Right?
Well, but in their defense, I mean, his personality was
Tony Stark. It was great casting. It was great casting. Ryan Reynolds' personality is not Hal Jordan.
No, it's Deadpool. He's literally Deadpool.
He's Deadpool. That's why he works so well there. Like, this should have been like a Chris Pine or something like that. Or like if he was younger, Nathan Fillion.
Yeah.
Who's voiced Hal Jordan in a lot of cartoons.
Yes.
So I mean, like something, but he was a little old at the time. So I mean, like something like that would have been better, but they didn't do that. Like they didn't do the right work. They should have they could have hired Robert Rodriguez and they would have had a better movie. Like, they didn't hire a guy who knew how to make these kind of movies.
Let me spend another half an hour dumping on this movie.
It's just this movie, like this, it disappoints me so much because it's the great, in my mind, this is the greatest what could have been.
It should have been a layup.
Should have been a layup, 100%. We should have the DCE, whatever they call it, DCU. Like, we should be like, this Black Adam movie should be like part of a legacy of movies by now. Instead of always trying to get
reboot.
We're always trying to get one head above water, right? Constantly. Like, it should have been. It should have been the movie that launched everything.
We should be worried that Flashpoint is coming, but instead we're like, hey, Flashpoint's here. All right.
Yeah, we should be like, oh man, are they going to restart everything with Flashpoint? Flashpoint's another great example of Jeff Johns just being Jeff Johns, and
Well, the funny thing is with their not only is their storytelling bad, or they're trying to slow things down to give us good characterizations, but like when Flashpoint comes, we're all going to be watching to see who they replace Ezra Miller with, because their casting sucks.
Yeah, Ezra Point. That's what they're going to call him.
He got in trouble again this weekend. That dude is something else, man.
Oh my God.
He did?
Yeah.
He is a menace. And this is coming from someone who lives near Cleveland, and we all
maybe they should replace
the
him
Sean
with Amber
Watson
Heard.
thing going. Oh, yeah. But yeah,
people talk
DC.
about Amber Heard. He's a much bigger problem than Amber Heard.
Yeah, she just shit on a bed, right? Exactly.
And
but
she
yeah,
got
DC.
She got a nasty divorce with her husband. Jesus, that's like half of America. Ezra Miller's another fucking case altogether.
Yeah, he's going to go to jail at some point. He's either going to murder somebody or he's going to assault a woman.
All right.
He's not
gonna assault a woman. He choked one.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
he already did on tape.
Yeah,
it's
he straight up big shoulder.
He did.
Yeah,
he gave
chokes like
yeah.
He smells like beef and cheese and sits on a throne of lies.
So we had proposed earlier that we shouldn't start here as the DCU. What if we did start here? What if how Marvel started from humble beginnings, Iron Man, Captain America? What if DC started out in the universe with the Green Lantern Corps and then worked their way into Batman? And
I would
Superman?
be fine with that if they'd have made it work.
Just done a complete flip.
Yeah,
I think that'd have been a great idea, Ray. That'd have been a great idea.
You can establish Darkseid and have him as a presence, and have his little minions getting closer and closer to
and
Earth.
New Genesis. Right?
Yeah, and then they have to all unite at the very end. I don't see the problem here. You would have had more time to prep for a Batman movie. You could have made a Superman movie that didn't suck. I don't know. You could have done a lot if you'd have just worked backwards and not did the Marvel way and skip steps.
The worst part about this is we can't even blame David Goyer. He had nothing to do with any of this.
No, I blame David for everything. I stumped my toe this morning. I said, "Fucking David Goyer."
Kind of like Stephen King in Sleepwalkers. They had him in the movie. He's like, I'm not taking the blame for this. I didn't do this. It's like
Sleepwalkers rules. I'm
I
sorry.
know, it
I
does.
love that movie.
It does.
The crazy cat
then.
people.
Yes.
Love
mothers
it.
I think we have
mothers
beaten-
and sons humping each other.
But it had Stephen King, who wrote the screenplay in the movie, going, "I didn't do this. I'm not taking credit for this."
I think we've beaten this to death.
Yeah,
It
pretty
beat
much.
itself to death, man. We were just helping carry it out.
That's right.
We exhumed the ashes. This is like one of
Pretty
those
much.
true crime specials where people go back and look at like these sadistic crimes of 10 years earlier, and we re-examine and we go, why did people do this?
What about? Hold on, Dave. Hold on, real quick. What about this? Right, Larfleeze. Well, since we're throwing weird things like the Wonder Twins and all this other crap at the wall,
Larfleeze,
bring in
yes.
a Larfleeze series, dude. It can be funny, cartoony. It can
Yeah, I
appeal to
agree with that.
all ages. Introduce more characters throughout the galaxy. Why didn't you bank on Larfleeze?
Larfleeze is not a kid character.
No,
He can
could
be.
be.
He
He
can
could
be
be.
very Wile E. Coyote.
He's a
Yeah.
he very could. Yes. He's a demented Muppet. That's what they call him
Yeah.
sometimes.
I
So, I mean,
love
like,
him.
Martha is great. Mine. Like, yeah, it could have been great.
Yeah, true.
Greed. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, it
Yeah.
summarizes DC.
Very accurate.
Mhm.
Now I need an image of Larfleeze.
That's
Yo,
nice.
of Warner Discovery.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we beat this to death.
Yeah.
Hey, at least it's not. Are you guys watching The Boys? You guys seen the first episode of season 3 of The Boys?
I
yeah.
gave up on it. I can't.
No, I gave up on the
So
boys last
at
year.
least
or last
it's
season.
not the Ant-Man type character going into a penis. Ridiculous.
I
right?
heard about that. I heard
I
about
saw that. I saw that, and I said, "This is a new low."
And then exploding because he sneezed.
Yep. He was inside touching on all of his sensors inside. He's just like, right? And then he sneezed inside his dick and he exploded him in half.
So it's
Perfect.
not that ridiculous.
It's not running through a whale. I mean, there's just been so many like what the fuck kills in this show. I love this show so much. So much.
Is your brain being fucked by stupid?
Right.
You know, keep it up, and I'll make our next movie The Proposal. All right.
Dick move. So what's next on the Mint Mobile? Do we know? Is it
That's
Deadpool?
it. No,
Well, the
that's-
next movie for Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool, which is a good movie.
We can finally do a good movie. We haven't
we
done a
don't-
good movie since Batman fucking Returns. Let's go, baby. I'm
Hold
ready.
on 5 moments, Wade. Yeah, let's. I'm all about Deadpool.
That's why we will never do it on this podcast again. All right.
I figure.
No, we'll figure it out. Maybe Deadpool, but we did Deadpool when it came out originally. I
Oh,
believe.
okay.
So
Deadpool
it makes
2?
it difficult.
That's the movie, boy. I mean,
What?
Deadpool's great, but Deadpool 2 is awesome.
He's only saying that because he gets X-Men in it.
You're damn straight.
Wait until Deadpool 3.
All right, guys. Now let's wrap this up. Let's go around the room. Tell me either something you recommend to our audience, or did you learn something on the podcast? And we'll start with Ray.
I recommend that everybody go and check out the original run of the Jeff Johns Green Lantern comic. It's quite epic. It's a pretty fast read too. You can breeze through it. I mean, Jeff Johns isn't exactly a Mr. Paragraph writer, so you can breeze through it. He's more about action set pieces and things like that and story. So go read that. Find the trade paperbacks and enjoy. I've read it probably 4 times all the way through, and I love it every time I read it. So that's my recommendation.
Cool. And Don?
What I learned today
to not sneeze inside of men's penises.
Right.
It's good advice.
What I learned today is exactly what Ray's motivation for having children is. So good job there, sir. No, I'm just kidding.
To not.
I recommend that you watch Obi-Wan and enjoy it immensely, because if you don't, then there's something wrong with you. Call a doctor, get that checked out. It's an awesome series with awesome acting. I don't quite sure get what the vitriol about the third sister actor is all about. Yeah. I think she plays a power hungry inquisitor very well. And yeah, so check that out and love it, because if you don't, you're wrong.
How dare you have an opinion on the internet? I think I've already said that.
JD?
I will echo Ray's sentiments and say, go back and read the Jeff. As much as I bury Jeff Johns as a film person, I don't think he's good at it. I think he does write really good comics. Specifically, I think Green Lantern is his magnum opus. Like, I think that's his dissertation on superhero comics. And from the moment he took over Green Lantern with Rebirth, because he doesn't cast away anything, he embraces everything, and I really like that about him as a comics writer, all the way through Blackest Night into the second run. I mean, like, it's great stuff. I'll also say that was a family night. We watched Pirates of the Caribbean with my little guy, and he absolutely loved it. And the movie holds up, actually. The first Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Oh, I love it.
Pretty damn good. Haven't seen it in years. I really enjoyed it. So I learned that I'm still emotionally damaged by what was done to Green Lantern in 2011.
Speaking of pirates, Jeffrey Rush was in Green Lantern.
He was.
Yes, he was the voice of
Tomoray.
Tomoray. Yes, the fish guy,
mm-hmm.
which works. He was a pirate, fish.
Sure.
Most pirates weren't fishermen, Dave.
All right, but they're out they're out in the ocean a lot. John,
recommendations. I'm going to go a little bit off my reservation here. Usually I have an anime recommendation or a book. I am heavily back into reading, was it the Harry Dresden series by Jim Butcher. I burned through 2.5 books since last week, but I am rewatching something with a friend of mine online. So there are these things called a bridge series. So like there's anime, and then there's somebody who'll do an abridged series on YouTube. And the abridged series is usually hysterical. It's a remix of the original anime, and it's usually not dubbed. I mean, it's usually dubbed, not subbed. So usually done in English, and they are amazingly hysterical. So Sword Art Online has probably one of the most mixed reviews you've ever heard of as far as anime is concerned. But Sword Art Online abridged on YouTube, that is something that everybody should watch.
Who puts that out, John? Who puts that out?
Oh, shoot. I forget. Something Witty Entertainment did that. Did that. They actually made the plot line of the original Sword Art Online make sense, but they also made it hysterical, and they made Kirito. Kirito's a Mary Sue or a Marty Stew, whatever, in the original anime, but in this, he's just an asshole, and it's hysterical. So everybody should watch it. Even if you haven't seen the original anime, this is funny. So
that's the problem. That's the problem with Sword Art Online and like Fate Zero. They have so many name titles. I don't know where to start.
Right. If anybody wants to know where to start Fate Zero or the Fate series, look online on YouTube. Giguk, Gigguk, did a video called The Fate Series, Where to Start. Watch that and just make sure you have some place to fall, because you would die laughing. Because he tries to explain where to start the Fate series. Long story short, not an easy question.
It's like trying to explain the Kingdom Hearts story. Like
it's trying to explain. It's like trying to explain a Mobius strip.
Yeah.
So anyway, there you go. There's my recommendation.
All right. Well, I will recommend that you go to superheroespeak.com where you can find the podcast every week. Links to our social media at the top of the page. Comic book reviews by our good friend D Square. Well, I learned something I already knew, but I'm going to state this. I thought it was a good point that was brought up twice on this podcast. If you have a good story, it doesn't matter what the movie looks like to a point. Like the special effects can be bad as long as you're telling a good story. I think Doctor Who proves that.
Last Starfighter.
Starfighter is a great example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, recommendation. Okay. I know this is going to sound crazy, but if you live within traveling distance to New York, go see The Music Man on Broadway. I loved it. Hugh Jackman's great in it. Did a little research after the show. The run goes till November. There is a rumor, though it's not confirmed, that there is someone who will take over for Jackman when he's done, and that's Justin Timberlake. So if you want to see a good version of this play, go see it now. Hugh Jackman.
Justin Timberlake could actually probably do an okay job. He won't be the same, but he'll still be good.
Won't be the same.
There's only one musical I really want to see live, and that's Evil Dead the musical.
Saw it. It's awesome.
Really?
Mhm.
I wanted to see it before I got married in Vegas, but nobody wanted to go. That sucks. They all wanted to go to Circus and watch special people flip around on things and play the slots. And I'm like, I want to go see Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't go.
If you get a chance, go see it. You know, go see Hugh Jackman do what he loves to do. I think that's what makes it really good.
He's got a real Jim Dale feel to him, but
80s movies had made it so I'll never go to New York ever in my life. So I'll take your word for it.
Jason Takes Manhattan went out of its way to make New York look like a heroin-infested, toxic waste.
So first off,
all two
most of that movie takes place on a boat.
Was that actually shot in Toronto?
Yeah, it was like Jesus. He they only went to Manhattan like the last 15, 20 minutes at most.
The Times Square shots were actually in Times Square.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, it was filmed in probably Toronto.
And apparently Crystal Lake is not a lake.
Yeah.
It is a camp.
Boat and travel to New York.
Yeah, it is because there's
Camp
like
in
a
New
camp.
Jersey.
Right. Yeah, there's like a Camp Crystal Lake, and I think they even have like a statue of
tours.
Jason chained to the bottom of the lake or some shit like that.
They have tours there now. You can stay there. You can stay at the camp where it was shot.
Jason Takes Manhattan and Jaws the Revenge are basically the same movie.
They both make my testicles go back into my body. Every time I hit play, I'm just like, don't wanna. But I do it anyway.
All right. On that note,
my testicles are the note.
That's a really weird note, dude.
There's two
off the rails. We'll end off the rails.
We're gonna put a pin in it for this week. So as always, thanks for listening. And don't let you get caught in the door. Have a good week.